Welcome to your awakening. Please take off as your reality is adjusted.
Good morning, global, digital, virtualized, panopticon, technocratic gulag. I hope you've all got your digital IDs ready. If not, just stare at your camera now and the AI will scan your face and decide if you're allowed to continue listening to this broadcast. Hello, welcome to the Resistance. Good evening.
This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm being scanned. I'm allowed. I'm allowed.
You have 30 seconds to comply. I've got to get that. I've got to watch them movies again. I haven't watched them for a few years now, so they're worth repeating. I've tried to watch some of the classics every now and then, to refresh my knowledge about them. And often you see things that you may not have noticed before. You know what it's like, especially if you watch some of the more complicated stuff, like some Kubrick movie or something like that. Yeah, there's always little bits and bobs that you may have never realised before. You're like, oh yeah, look at that. So yeah, I'll have to dig out the RoboCops again. Number 2 is still my favourite, but you know what they're like, or what they were like back in the 80s. They used to love milking the trilogy movies, and it usually ended
Well, like the Terminator. I did like that one. Yeah.
Terminator 2 was fantastic, yeah. But then it got silly.
They always do.
One was good, was 2.
We're going to send another one back to go against the one we sent back before. We went against the one we sent back before. We went against the one we sent. We're stuck in a time loop. Oh dear. Yeah. So welcome back, folks. We're not quite in the time loop yet. Some people might think that, but I'll just say you're wrong. Oh, I keep forgetting to grab that little meme ready for that. I don't think I got it. It's in the Starfish collection, is it? Yeah, we save it for Starfish. But yeah, you're wrong. Sorry. That's something I'll come back to later. You got it somewhere. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, probably.
It's something about epistemology, and definitely in the current situation we're in and the way they're going to keep pushing us, a major part of what they want, and I'm just going to use the ubiquitous they label. I'm sure you're all quite intelligent enough to figure the shit out for yourself. But a major part of what they want is for you to feel as if you cannot know anything. Yeah, read your classic quote. We'll know our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believes is false. That was from William Casey, who was the CIA director. And you can apply the global population rather than just the American population to that quote. I'll recommend yet again for the umpteenth time a documentary called Hypernormalization by a guy named Adam Curtis. It's a long thing to watch. It's about 4 hours long, but you can watch it in chunks. And he makes a very good presentation that will give you a lot of information to demonstrate how there is an outright attempt to make you feel like you know nothing and to doubt everything around you, to feel like nothing can be proven and you just have to let them tell you what reality is. Yeah,
I like Rumsfeld's one. There are known knowns. There are known unknowns. There are unknown unknowns.
Yeah, well, it is, as I've explained before, it is a philosophical maxim. It is true. There are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and there are unknown
unknowns. And some knowns you're not supposed to know.
And there are also gnomes that are hidden.
Yes.
Tiny ones.
Yeah. They get sick and tired of trying to deal with fucking what I like to call ignorant people. I nearly use that word as the title for tonight. Ignorant is a portmanteau I come up with years ago, which is basically the two words arrogant and ignorant combined, because that is now often what we encounter. How many times do you hear the response of, "Are you an expert? What's your qualification? Are you a professor?" Well, yes, actually, now that I've learned from Professor Gisbang that anyone can give themselves a title professor, I am actually mega uber zenith professor of the 15 millionth dimension. Yeah, you, mate. Yeah, I am a professor.
And an expert.
Yeah, telling you you're wrong. Take a breath.
Yeah, you're a Jedi master, Cookie.
Oh, no,
You're
Jedi based on
Gandalf.
Kabbalah.
Gandalf the White.
No,
Grey.
I was never
Grey?
Gandalf. No.
Well, it's not a bad character. Come on.
No,
Right.
it's just...
it's not a bad thing to be called. Yeah, it could be worse.
Could be worse.
No, but
I never, could be Rob.
I never want to pretend to be someone else. You know, it's
no,
the concept
I get that.
of
You're not Gandalf, but
no, it's like the concept of riding people's coattails, or in another example, and this is actually from a kind of biblical reference, it's wearing another person's skin. Yeah, so in other words, basically trying to pretend you're clever or knowledgeable or wise by just repeating what you've heard others say. Yeah, you don't really comprehend.
That's
what I like about Gandalf, right? Because he starts out as Gandalf, and then he gets his stick, and then he becomes Gandalf the Grey, and then he dies and comes back as Gandalf the White, even wiser, even more evil. You know, that's that.
Well, I was resurrected over the weekend, right?
Well, there you go.
That's what Walpurgis Night and Beltane is all about.
Yeah.
For those people who bothered to take my hint and had a look into
Friday was wonderful, ladies. Thanks.
Yeah, what Walpurgis was about. Walpurgis Nacht, because it was originally particular to Germany, because it was during the time when the Catholic missionaries were re-establishing that kind of Catholic orthodoxy. And Saint Walpurga, allegedly, one of her powers was witchcraft didn't work on her. Yeah. So that was why she sort of celebrated on the night before Beltane, because Beltane allegedly is the night that the witches come out and do their thing. Yeah. Religious fucking conflict shit. Yeah, that's what it is. But it's just the principle of when you do the two together, that is a replication of the life and death cycle. Again, it's the death and resurrection again. Yeah. So yeah,
and it's how you celebrate it in your own way. And if they try stopping you, I think that's what makes people more stubborn. People like me, and it was wonderful that all my neighbours were perfectly happy for me to set fire to things that I've been storing for the last 3 or 4 months. Dried bags of nothing but pure garden waste. So it just went a big whoosh. I even filmed it because my neighbour who's like 100 yards away said, "I saw you had your fire." Not anything else. Just saw it because it just went up in a beautiful. But it's getting rid of the old, and all the wood ash that's there is meant for the garden. And I think that's been done for centuries and centuries and centuries, thousands of centuries, hasn't it?
Thousands of years, yeah.
Oh yeah, since forever. Yep.
And it makes you feel good, the wood smoke and the sage, and getting rid of all your old debris you've had in the garden, so you can sprinkle it on the garden for the summer for your replanting, as it's meant to be. Then we had some rain, so it all got washed in the garden. Now the sun's out. What more could you want? They want to stop that, don't they?
The sun is out. It is originally a celebration of the cycle of the sun coming into full power. We are now fully in summer. Yeah. So the sun that went through its period of as the Egyptians described it, the death of Horus, yeah, and then he goes through his resurrection again, because Horus is the sun is Horus, etc., etc. Horus Arakti. Yeah, the risen again, etc. So, sorry, I'm probably going to say etc. a lot tonight. You'll just have to put up with it. Similar to, I'm going to talk about a few things later on that might stretch your brain a little bit. I know some of you are used to me talking about this subject, and you've probably heard me say a lot of this shit before. But for people who may not have heard it, yeah, just if there's things you don't get or you don't agree with, what, yeah, just let me rant my thing, and you can think about it afterwards. You can ask questions later. Yeah, there will not be a quiz.
Oh.
No,
Okay.
no, sorry.
Okay.
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 I won the last one.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Basically, I want to carry on from where we left off last week, where I was talking about some of that more, what some would call just esoteric symbolism within, usually contained within what most people know as Freemasonry, but it's not just the Freemasons. There are various secret societies, and the upper echelons of those that are allowed access to a knowledge base that the general populace is not. They have a comprehension of a lot of that stuff to do with sacred geometry and how you construct buildings and cities and stuff like that. But we'll come back to that here, and I will further the presentation of combining some of the information. I know many people have done this in the past. There was a brilliant one you featured in your daily today, mate, that French guy who does the classic kind of TikTok style where he's looking at stuff on the internet and then he's looking at the camera.
I'm trying to get him on our show, but yeah. I haven't got a response yet, but I'll try and get him on. Dimitri is his name.
Dimitri, right? Okay.
Dimitri, he's French, but he speaks English, so that's a plus. Yeah.
But I thought first, I'll try and explain. I think people would get it straight away. The subtitle this week is just tick my boxes. And in my head, I had that sound of is it Donna Summer, Ring My Bell? That song, Ring My Bell.
Yeah.
But for me, it was tick my boxes, because all I've been seeing in the news is they're just telling everyone what I predicted several weeks ago, if not longer ago. Yeah. So, hello, welcome to sitting right up at the back of the Circus Coliseum, the virtualized Circus Coliseum. We can have a discussion about whether she can raise the fetus in a box, or maybe I should say he, because he's really a man. He's just wanting to pretend to be a woman. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing the scene from Monty Python Life of Brian, where they're sat in the Coliseum and they're having an argument about, oh, he feels like a woman. He could be a woman if he wants to be. How are you going to raise the baby in a box? Yeah, anyway.
I got the clip. If you want it, I can play it.
Yeah, please, because it's so classic.
Yeah.
It'd be a good way to
Well,
start
I got the clip of the French guy. So.
Oh, I thought you was on about the Monty Python.
I wish I had one. I know. Not on file.
Save Dimitri clip for the second half then. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Because that's what it's connected to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought.
Want to say hello to the peeps?
Yeah, have hello, say hello. So obviously explain the subtitle, tick my boxes, because we are just watching more of that stupid circus. So let's scroll all the way back up to the top and say hello to everyone. Hello to everyone, and including all the lurkers and time travelers and those that are not maybe feeling well enough to be messing about with screens and keyboards. I hope you're getting better soon. And first in the chat, we had Paula in for James. Thank you, Paula. Hello, Paula, and hello, James. And then it was me, because I'd just set the room up. Scrolling down. CMB.
Yeah, Smithy wasn't doing too well at the moment, so he's pray for Smithy, guys. He's not well yet, so.
Right, yeah, he's still in recovery phase. So, people have got to allow.
Yeah, but it's very up and down with him now. So yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
You got to be careful of that audience capture trap, man. His health is the most important thing. He can't be doing his thing for the public if he's not well enough. So he needs to get well first.
I'm sorry,
if he has a good day, those are precious right now, right? So yeah.
Get well.
He really needs to focus on getting well.
Sending him lots of love, all of us, all of us, thinking of him.
Yeah, we miss him. So hope he gets back soon.
And I hope you get your cheap flights back again soon, CMB. Recently now, in the past few days, been massive cancellations and shit here and across Europe, I think.
Yep.
They're using the excuse of the fuel crisis to get themselves out of out of, I don't know if they gave in the full payment back or whatever. They'll probably use it as some kind of discount excuse, you know.
Yeah.
'Cause
You'll
it's,
pay more to get back, probably. A lot more.
war, as far as I know, warfare influencing a situation like that means it's force majeure. So in force majeure in an insurance policy basically means they don't have to give you anything back unless they want to be nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, so they might give you a coupon or something just to, hopefully keep you as a customer. But I don't know. I'm just speculating. We'll have to see what's happening as the.
I saw something with the bloke with the glasses. I'm trying to think what he's called. Where he did something about the insurance wouldn't pay out if it was lack of fuel. There was only one out of 20 companies that would pay out. That was tied into an all package holiday, but I can't remember the name of the bloke. Is somebody well known on like helping people with, insure, whatever, like Which, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Which as in
yeah.
WHICH. So very, very rare. If you do get it cancelled, you'll get your money back because it won't be the fault of the accommodation because that's available and all the other things. If your flight is cancelled because of lack of fuel, unless you have that one company in 20. So yeah, hopefully
if
it
you're
won't
there,
happen.
how do you get back then? And don't
Don't
you have
know.
to pay more for your accommodation because you have to stay there longer?
Probably.
Right? All
Yeah.
that stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for that?
You.
Yeah, the customer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Flying is going to be a luxury. That's how they're going to sell it, right?
That's the whole point. But in their own documentation, no more personal flights by 2050. Full stop. Not reduced, just none. Zero.
Right. Okay.
No.
Sorry. Back to roll call. Hello, Mascara Snake.
Hello.
Good evening. Thanks for the music today. That was a really nice one, especially the hang at the end, the pause. That worked really well right here.
Hopefully you stuck your thumbs up for him. I did.
Yeah, I always go and listen and give him a thumbs up, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Roscoe, good evening, mate. I hope you're well. I did see your comment that Peter showed up earlier. Yeah, that's definitely, mate. They are playing that game with us. And Rick, good evening, Rick. Good to see you.
Eric.
Roberto, good evening, mate. Hope you're well. Thank you for the rhyming. I like the new stuff you're having a go at now, doing the kind of story rhymes.
The Greek one was good. The Greek mythology one was good.
The Persephone one, yeah.
Persephone, yeah, I like that. Well done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's CMB. Yeah. So I was getting confused with the slight difference with the rumble. Scrolling. Paul, good evening, Paul. I've been trying to keep up with some of what you and Lady of Air have been posting, but it seems like
it's gonna be quiet from all the stuff from Ireland at the moment,
the information stream seems to be getting cut off before it gets to us. Yeah. There's pretty much no mention of it in the news media at the moment.
No, you don't know. No. Nope. You would be in the daily if you were. So.
Genuinely concerned. Good evening. Yeah, I'll buy that for $1. I love them little adverts, man. I'm going to have to clip them out and just put them in a string one of the nights. But I'll buy that for $1. Scrolling. Keep your digits flowing. Said hello to you. Shown that. David, good evening, David. Thanks for joining in the chat, mate.
Evening, David.
And there's Rob. Good evening, Rob. Are you doing your hair again?
Oh, he's here. He made it.
You're welcome to join in, mate, whatever you want.
Yep.
I think you might like some of the stuff we'll talk about later.
Get in there.
It adds into the electroculture principles and all that. Yep. Rebecca, good evening, Rebecca.
Hi, Becky.
Hi, Rebecca.
Google doing its usual, showed me one of your cat videos today, and that was it.
It was nice to see you on the ladies' night.
Yes, yeah.
Doing a live. That was good.
Yeah, that was cool.
Very brave to join the ladies.
Yeah, with their craziness.
They
might have had you wearing embroidered weirdness or something, some kind of mankini or something, yeah.
Yeah.
She was very brave, but we did have a few sound issues, which next time we'll have corrected so we can all hear properly. But thank you for staying with us, Becky. Thanks.
Yeah.
Ulick, good evening, mate.
Hey, look.
Glad you
Hey,
made it.
look.
It's good that we're still getting international connections, you know. Right, I think I've reached all of the chat. Yeah, like usual, hello all you lurkers and whatever, the quiet people and the time travelers and maybe even the well, I thought about doing a special song.
You haven't said hello to Days yet. You haven't said hello to Days.
Where?
There. He's there.
I'm being totally blind. Sorry, Days, if I'm not seeing you in the chat, but I'm being totally blind. I can't see it, Paula.
It came up at 18 minutes past 8 in Harry Cook and Monster Soul Excalibre chat.
Aha, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, mate, I just didn't notice.
That's all right. No, I just mention it. No jabs in as well, but Days is there. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, hello, mate. Hope it's not too crazy over on the islands. You don't want to get that virus that's on that cruise ship. Okay, no jab. Good evening. Yeah, you're welcome to lurk, mate. That's no problem. You use the chat box if you want to. It is not a requirement. It's just there for you to make use of if you choose to. There is no joining in requirement for these discussions. The original point of doing them was just to have a public view of us having discussions about interesting or stuff that we found interesting. Yeah. Hello, Lopsum. Good timing, mate. You got in just ready, just at the right time.
I love.
Yeah, cool. So yes, we are back once again, like a renegade master. And I was just going to do a little ditty that went through my head when this thing popped up. Hello, stalker, you sad twats. I'll see you back again. Well, how about that? But you just want me to take notice of you. And every time you just prove how much you love me. And I must be so fucking powerful. I live in your head forever and ever. And you'll just go mad and start raging on the keyboard. Yeah, there you go. Just a silly little ditty.
Rent free.
Yeah, I was going to say rent free, living in my head.
Rent free by Cookie. Yep.
Living in my head by Cookie.
In a similar fashion, as he does every few months, he likes to send me a little message from a totally bogus email address. And there's nothing like particular in the message. He's not trying to send me attacking information or trying to have a go at me or whatever. It's just basically him letting me know that he's still watching me. Yeah, that he's keeping an eye on me. Yeah, and it's sort of, mate, how many years? How many years have you been doing this? And I'm still here, you dumb fuck. Same thing again as with all the other shit. You know, you like to try and play these... what by some people would be classified as psychic driving games. Yeah, I've talked about this kind of stuff over the years, so I understand the principle, and it just never gets you anywhere. And I'm going to play this little 30-second clip because yet again it demonstrates my attitude to shit like that, yeah? I just
should have shouted like freedom. But
it was a good death. He died well. He died well acting there. That was a good death.
Good death.
There is some good acting in that movie. Yeah, that's why I recommended it before. No, it's not historically perfect.
Is it Rob Roy or something like that?
Yes, Rob Roy.
Yeah.
It's a classic kind of Liam Neeson action movie, but it does tell the story of the Glenn Clear.
His daughter gets kidnapped.
Yeah. He's got special skills.
Yeah, I got special skills.
He's crap at fencing, but he knows how to deal a death blow, you know.
Yep.
But to me, it's about the whole film is a build up to the crescendo of that, yeah. Because to demonstrate that character, the fop character as he's referred to, he's a psycho. He loves tormenting people. He loves torturing them, yeah. So the look on his face at the start of that clip, he's like, he's reveling in the fact that he's got the guy on his knees and who's about to kill him. And then just to see the look of surprise on his face as he's falling down dead. It's like that's what arrogance gets you. That's what ignorance gets you. If you think ignorance is some kind of shield to protect you from reality, then you really are a dumb fuck.
Ignorance. Good word.
Yeah. Something I tried to propagate years ago, but it didn't really catch on, so we'll see. Maybe it will this time. But they are relying on you to feel that sense of tribal group mind. I should say group mind, really, because tribalism is not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, tribalism is a lot to do with survival.
Yep.
So it's not necessarily, as it's often used as a pejorative. And I know this from studying sociology at degree level, yeah? They teach you that tribalism is for the old ways, the past. We shouldn't live that way anymore, because it's primitive and it's too simplistic and it's ignorant and blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's about survival, primarily. It's to do with
Our tribe. We are a tribe.
Of course, you have to connect with people on the same wavelength and gathering information and stuff so that you can survive. On your own, you've got less chance of survival than if you're in a group of people. It makes sense.
Like-minded people, preferably.
Frank. Yeah. Glad you joined, mate. Thank you for the additions you were posting last week. It's good to get those extra corrections and accuracies.
Thanks,
that's part of what the chat room is there for. So, that idea that tribalism is necessarily a bad thing is not true per se. You've got to add a bit more nuance and context to the use of that word, that definition. But group mind, I think it's well accepted now that there is that principle that they acknowledge, even though in your standard academics, in the controlled academic sphere, they prefer you not to research too deeply into the power and the level of influence that the group mind can have over people. So studying things like the madness of crowds is not altogether encouraged unless you're deliberately researching into a specialized area. Hey mate, no, don't worry. We can double check things. We can cross reference.
You're right sometimes, mate. Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Just
don't underestimate yourself, mate.
Other people will, necessarily offer corrections if they think you're not being accurate. So to me, that's the way it should work. Yeah, that really is.
That's a discussion, right? That's having an open and fair-minded discussion. So
that's the principle of scientific research and philosophical debate. Debate does not mean trying to win points in an egotistical sense. It's not a competition.
No.
You're taking an idea, a concept, and you're trying to resolve it to find out whether it's true or whether there's bits of it that are wrong and they need changing, it needs refining. It's like shaping a diamond. When you first pull it out of the ground, it's a rough lump of crystal. And then they sit there and they work, the gem crafter works away at it until it makes this faceted, reflected stone, highly polished stone. That is as well the same principle that the masons use between the rough stone and the polished stone. This is the kind of thing we're talking about. They're just trying to codify it into their control or under their control. But anyway, before we get distracted too far ahead, the shit that's been going on recently, they want you to, or they're encouraging people to fall into a group mind because it's easier to manipulate people in groups, because unfortunately that group mind effect is true in the way it influences people. There is a truth to how people can be turned into a ravening mob when you get them in large groups, because the group mind takes over. Yeah, it's why I've used this image for so many years. It's not because I want to talk about Nazis and communists necessarily. The irony of this image as well in that respect, because the guy in the circle, the guy who's resisting, is a communist. So he's a collectivist acting individually. That in itself is fucking ironic. But then the group shown in the rest of the image are individualists, because one thing about fascism is it includes the principle of individual rights, even though you're part of a socialized national group. Yeah, you're still considered an individual within that group. But they're all acting in a group as a collective mind. And a lot of them are subordinating their own free will to just follow the mob, because for whatever reason they feel they need to, they have to, or it's the right thing to do. You know, they've been caught up in the ideology, they've been caught up in the rhetoric, and they believe and they agree and they just want to show their allegiance. You know, these are the effects. Go on.
It might not be political. It might be, say, like a fantastic concert and everyone's facing one way and dancing, and you could have a security guard that is not involved with that moment, who's just doing his job, that isn't in that vibe. He's in a completely different zone. You could have both that kind of you've seen it, haven't you? That manic, like music screaming
in the middle of a mosh, where all the front of the crowd are really getting in there, getting the elbows, and the security man's up against the railing, just like, and the band are really into it. The sound is pounding, and he's just saying, he's doing his job, but even so, same kind of thing. Yeah. So they want us to fall into this mindset, and the reason I wanted to mention this is because, hello, Enspatchcock. Hello, mate. I hope you're well. I thought I saw you pop up in the chat a while ago, but yeah. OG, hello, mate. I hope you're doing good, man. Welcome to the craziness. I'm sure you're having lots of popcorn with all the shit that's going on at the moment.
But
coming up in a couple of weeks is a conflicting protest in London, where there's going to be one bunch of protesters doing support Gaza, support Palestine side of the argument, and there's going to be a whole load of people on the what do they call it? Is it Defending the Nation? The Stephen Yaxley Lennon organised wave your flag protest, and I wanted to mention it partly for that, like I said, the kind of group mind think shit that's going on, because the push for the new anti-Semitism legislation and stuff like that is going to be built upon what's happening in that respect. These protests and people being labelled as terrorist sympathisers and stuff like that. This is all working towards that panopticon control system. So the one thing I wanted to mention as well in that respect is I predict that there will be probably an equal number of Israeli flags as there are St. George's and Union flags. And I'm saying equal number simply because I think Tommy Tipbag will put the word out, say, don't overdo it, guys. We don't want them to figure out that this is being organised by the Zionist Influence Support Network. We don't want them to realise that we're just trying to encourage them to support this idea of ethno-nationalism because it serves the purpose of that Zionist agenda. But up to equal number, more than likely. But we'll see. Hopefully, I know there's going to be a lot of genuine people there. I know people want the opportunity to demonstrate how they feel about the shit that's been happening in the country. And I don't disagree with that. But their energy is being channeled by outside forces, not for our benefit. This is something that benefits them. And in that respect, I mention, You know, like I said, I wanted to do in the first hour, just talking about some of the crazy shit that's been happening recently and ticking my boxes. The incidents in Golders Green being labelled as anti-Semitic terrorism, hate attack, all that bullshit. There was 3 people injured. One of them was a Muslim. He wasn't Jewish.
Mhm.
And all of them were male, which means like the guy wasn't trying to attack children or women. He had the opportunity. He was marching through the area, but he didn't. He deliberately chosen fully mature men. That may have been something that indicated his psychological problems, not that it really had anything to do with religion. Maybe there was a connection there, but it seemed more that he had possibly a deliberate hatred for other men, and he saw them as some kind of threat that he needed to attack. And the other
Yeah,
thing
he
is
doesn't
the
have
fact-
a fucking Al Qaeda manifesto writing down
No.
where he's gonna
Yeah.
stab down Jews because he hates Jews and because of this and that and blah blah blah.
or,
No,
or
no.
even something of decent quality like the
Or an
Kaczynski
ISIS flag.
manifesto,
Nope.
where we actually make some very good rational arguments about why he was taking the stance he took, you know? And a lot
Again,
of it
he
is
was a
still
well-known criminal, right? Wasn't he? With
the guy who,
psychological problem. Yeah, the stabber.
yeah,
He was
yeah,
well known with his.
he was a mental patient that had not
Yeah.
long been released, and he was
Yeah.
known to have a history of violence. He'd been
Yeah.
reported by his own family multiple times.
So
either I think this is where the indications was either it was a lie hop of some kind or a my hop, as in forces helped him leave the hospital and then encouraged him to go in a certain direction. They may have even deliberately wound him up into some kind of psychotic episode and then, you know, said, why don't you go and get those guys, you know? We know they do that kind of shit. They have a stable of names that they can access, as well as people who have been mentally messed with, you know, they've been brainwashed or MK ultra'd, as people like to say, you know? That is, again, a truism. No matter the bullshit they try to feed us in the news and the movies, trying to say that it's all just fictional, it's not fucking fictional. They didn't
no, but
stop
I think
that
what might
research.
have happened is like they got him for the first stabbing and then they just let him go again at that
It's
area.
like, no, don't
Because
stab
why would he
Muslims,
be
go
at
and
that
get them.
area? That area is not a very, you know, stabby go around because the Jews do have police, they do have security, they do have all that shit.
Yeah.
And they're very awake and very aware of any terrorist attack and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
If any, it's them.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
that's another thing I wanted to. Well, there's a couple of other things in
I
that
think
sense.
he did something, then they, you know, let him
Took
go again.
advantage of the situation, yeah.
Yes.
Because they've been desperate to have leverage over Starmer. I suggested, I think I said it when we were live last week, that the stuff to do with the rent boys, and again, the news is not always being accurate. There was 2 Ukrainians and 1 Romanian, yeah? And allegedly they were
and a
just being
mystery guy.
paid. Yeah, they were being paid by an online mystery guy
It's
to
the
go
money.
and visit. This is where I suggested, like, look, this might very well have nothing to do with some kind of sexual entrapment, like a honeypot kind of thing that they're doing on Starmer. This could be simply that the Ukrainians themselves are trying to pressure him by basically putting physical threats at him. You know, we know where you live. We know where your homes are. We know what vehicles you own. We could blow you up whenever we want. Yeah, so that's more just general blackmail pressure, yeah? That could help explain the Ukrainian situation.
But Starmer has the fucking MI5 and MI6 to fucking prevent that shit, right?
But as I was going to say, pew, pew. If you know that you know when you've done the research and you've spent the time looking at all the available information out there and you've listened to us, because we've often talked about this kind of stuff, the situation in Ukraine is being heavily influenced and probably outright controlled by the same outside forces that emanate from that Zionistic system. The Ukraine is a deliberate creation of the Zionist agenda. This is nothing to do with Russia versus Ukraine as an independent nation and shit like that. That situation was agitated if you keep following the money via Uppour. Yeah, I've mentioned that a few times over the years. That was what becomes basically a business of generating insurgencies and revolutions. They became highly skilled at how to explain to people and give them the resources to cause an uprising. Right, that's what they do. Yeah, they're called Uppour, OTPOR. Look it up if you want, if you've never heard of it before. Yeah, and this goes right back, into the noughties and whatever. But anyway, the point being, the situation and what becomes the war in Ukraine was not a kind of natural emergence of them with friction against Russia. This is an engineered situation that feeds into the long-term Zionistic plan. Part of the reason for the situation in Ukraine is to destabilize Europe, right, and enable the descent of Europe to come under.
Yeah, when you say Ukraine, I think Khazarian Empire.
Yes,
right?
Yes, exactly, mate. Yeah. Yes, that is why they chose Ukraine to do that from. Yes, because when it comes down to it, I think there's more than enough evidence now to show that the core of the Zionist group, whatever they're made up of, whether they claim to be Jewish or not, is meaningless. Yeah, because it's not about Judaism and it's not about the people of the Hebrews, the Israelites, or any of that shit. It's not. Right? This is about global control. That's it. A lot of them could be described as Sabbatean Frankists and shit like that. Yeah, they have a very, very twisted interpretation of their ideology. Most of it is based on the Babylonian Talmud, which is why we end up with so much kind of Kabbalah influence and shit like that, because they use a corrupted form of Babylonian magic. I'm talking about magick, actual magic, not illusion, not psychological trickery. Yeah, the reason the Freemasons build stuff in certain shapes is not just for psychological trickery. It's about manipulation of energy. Yeah. So, yeah, the situation in Ukraine is not really to do with Ukrainians and Russians. Right? They're just, unfortunately, the proxy forces to create the conflict in that zone, which acts as a cancerous homunculus attached to Europe, the continent of Europe, to basically drain and like a tick to cause the exsanguination of the European nations to the point that they become so desperate they agree to align themselves into this new globalist order that's being built. I know that sounds complicated and complex. It's not really. It's quite simplistic in a strategic sense. But because it's playing over a large scale and a period of time, most people find it difficult to comprehend the strategy that's being played out. Yeah. So that's one thing. So I think that the shit that's been happening with Starmer, they're desperately basically trying to pull him over a barrel as much as they can. And he is a sociopath. I think, I'm not qualified, but I challenge any real psychologist out there, not psychiatrist, because I think that's fucking bullshit, psychologist. I challenge any of you to show how I'm wrong. You do a simple diagnosis of him. He's a sociopath. Yeah, he doesn't really have any genuine compassion or empathy for people. He just knows how to pretend to. And he loves drawing within the lines. He's got what's often labelled as autism in that respect of he has a need to fit in exactly what's been asked of him. He has to get it exactly perfect within the lines. It has to be crisp and exactly what they told me to do.
He's in several circles, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah, he's pulled in many different directions, which is why they have so much control over him.
He knows how dark the world really is, doesn't he?
Yes. Go on, Paul.
He has a very unnatural ability to be what I call very robotic and abnormal, so much so that it's almost as if he's not real, not human.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's not. I know he is, but it's like, wow.
That's very calculated. Everything he says is calculated. He's like a robot, like you say, But he's not stupid. He's absolutely not stupid.
No, he's not an idiot.
Don't think
He's
he's
just,
like an idiot or something
he's a
or baffling.
subordinate.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got a
And
sub-personality.
you might not like it, but he loves it. Right?
Yeah.
So
No, but this is just me from a female perspective, looking in the
lizard in a
evil
skin
glint,
suit. Yeah, well, yeah.
evil glint of an eye, right? You've got somebody like Kim Jong-un, who's known for being a real bastard, right? But he's still got a glint in his eye. There's something about him. You think, oh, he still knows. He's probably very evil, but he's still got a glint in his eye. There is no glint of humanness I've ever seen, ever once, in Keir Starmer's eye. I mean, Boris is a different bag altogether. He knows about that witty charm and being able to do that. Keir
He
Starmer's not
uses
just not a
charm magic.
Yeah, but
yeah.
that's
It's not
the thing,
about
right?
personality. Yeah, go
He
on.
baffles in circles with the royals and all that, and that's where they eat children, right? So they tell him like, "Oh well, welcome, but we eat children over here." Okay, right? And he accepts that. Yeah, he's not on a human
facilitates
level anymore. That guy.
No, he
Right? He's way
facilitates.
beyond
No.
that.
Never forget
So-
that it was him that was in charge of the criminal justice system in the UK when
Yep.
Savile got
Yep.
let
Yep.
off.
That's
Yep.
him.
Yeah, he
Yes.
signed away them documents
That's
because as the chief, it
That's
would
why
have
he's
eventually
prime
got to
minister
his
now.
desk.
Yeah, that's his prize.
Yeah, and you wonder why there's been so many delays and excuses about.
And he didn't even want
inquiry
it
into
because
the
he
rape
said,
gang.
"I want to be in Davos and not in fucking Parliament. I want to be in Davos."
Yeah, he
Let me-
wants to
let me
turn
do that. I
Parliament
want to be a
into
globalist.
Davos.
I'm a globalist. I want to be Tony Blair 3.0 on steroids.
I want to be able to snort coke with my friend Macron.
Well, I want Gaza and Lebanon.
Yeah. So in this country, I've got to mention, because I just got to take the piss out of the simplistic destruction technique, because they've become so shit at what they do now in Parliament. It's worse than a fucking circus show, because it's not even a good circus show. It's like you're watching the crappiest clowns ever. They're just crap at pretending to actually do anything or be capable of anything. I could list off some of the stupidness that the different ones have done, especially recently. But, that's the way it goes. It's like a simplistic laundry list of shit. Right? But the £10 a point headline today, I'll shout out to Rob. Thank you for reading the headlines for us, mate. But in the news media today, they've raised the prices so that it's ended up with the price of a pint is now £10 a pint. And of course, lots of people are jumping on that, and the public is now not everyone, not all of us, but there's going to be a large demographic out there that's going to be talking about, oh fucking shit, we've got to pay £10 a point. What the fuck's going on in the world, man? I can't even get cheap. And they're going to be more concerned about getting their fucking drink than the fact that these cunts eat fucking babies. They eat babies. Starmer lied in Parliament. Starmer is being influenced by outside forces to give preference to a completely different fucking nation than the country he's in.
Yeah.
But £10 a point. Oh, forget all that, mate. £10 a point.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
Stop it, for fuck's sake. You are bending over and let them fucking rape you repeatedly. No, I'm not talking to anyone in particular. I'm just shouting my annoyance at the general populace for being fucking sycophantic, sub-psychopath fucking idiots. They're so desperate. They cannot face their own mortality such that they can realise that if they don't say no, they're going to face a fate worse than death, as the saying goes. Do you want to live in a literal open air
lemmings,
prison?
right? Like lemmings walking off
Yeah.
that fucking cliff voluntarily. It's like the COVID shit.
Yeah,
It's all
it
that.
is again.
fucking-
Yeah, there is another mass transference of wealth taking place. What Trump has been doing in the Middle East, again, tick one of our boxes. Is there a ceasefire? No, of course there isn't a ceasefire.
And Blackwater is not happy, by the way, on this because they're losing a ton of money. Did you know that?
Not about them in particular, no, but
yeah.
transfer of wealth, mate, like I just said. Yeah.
Yep.
This is part of what's happening at the moment. The situation in the Middle East was never anything to do with a so-called evil regime in Iran. That's just the excuse. That's just the cover story. That's just the feeding the baying crowd a bit of red meat. Of like, oh yeah, it's them evil Muslims and their fucking ray guns. Yeah. They're another excuse bullshit. The whole principle of what they're doing in the Middle East is to completely transform the global financial system. I've also suggested the possibility that it was an attempt to disrupt Chinese AI development in the AI race between East and West.
Slave. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm reacting to Blessed there. He's
Oh,
working.
hello, Blessed. Good evening.
Hi, Blessed.
Yeah,
Yeah, mate.
You
Yeah.
gotta do what you gotta do.
It's the system, right? Yeah, you're part of it.
Yeah, I get it.
You know
gotta
it,
do what
and you
gotta
know
do.
it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
good luck.
But
Have a nice day.
the power of a general strike and the need to help the public remember that when it comes down to it, the true power lies in the mass of the population, not the small number of individuals that think they rule over us in one fashion or another, and not the demographic of the enforcers that are quite happy to take a payment and a gilded cage to force the rest of us to obey and follow along with the bullshit. Because that's the way
Cookie.
the whole system fucking works, yeah?
Cookie.
Voila.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if you role reversed it so instead of the lockdown being whatever it was, the 30th of March or whatever it was, people just didn't go to work that day?
Yeah.
It wasn't enforced. It was just, no, we're not engaging with the world instead of them switching us not being able to go out and breathe and etc. from that day forth
Yes.
for 2 weeks to flatten
Yes,
the curve, you know. Sorry, Pete.
I'm afraid that they know that day is coming and they're anticipating it and they're playing on it.
Yes.
Okay.
This is
So,
also partly why they're trying to force the transfer to the digital system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
because
you
they
have
know
these
that
parties out there like Rupert Lowe and guys like saying all the right
Yeah.
things, but they won't do the right things. Trust me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because to do the right things, they have to fucking lock you
Be part of
down,
this.
shut you up, put you on a digital ID, and do all the things, right? So,
Yeah.
no. And that's it,
No,
right? People have to
yeah.
realize that there is no hope anywhere. Like
Not
the
in
only
them,
hope
no.
is us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the
Right? We
ground
have
up,
to
from the
say
grass up.
no.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Just say no.
I wasn't planning
no.
to play it, and I won't for now, but look up the Diggers song by Chumbawamba.
Yeah,
It just
okay.
they did the cover,
Okay.
it like a cover, but that was a song that was written for a group called the Diggers in something like what was it, 13th century, 14th century,
Okay.
early medieval time. But it was basically as the lords in the UK were starting to oppress the population quite severely, and they were instituting various, taxes and demands of tithes and shit like this. There's basically a lot of oppression happening on the peasantry. Help, I'm being oppressed. A group of people got together. Was it Wat Tyler or was that later? I'm getting confused on the dates. So it might have been Wat Tyler.
That was the Tollpuddle Martyrs. What
Oh
Tyler?
no, that was later then, wasn't it? Yeah, no, the
Okay.
Diggers were a different group earlier than that.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the guy who was leading them off the top of my head at the moment. But again, you can look it up. It's not hidden history. It's just very rarely mentioned because of how it played out. They realised they were getting fucked over. They weren't dumb. They just didn't have the standard like education. They weren't literate. But
Yeah.
there was some amongst their group that were. And
Yeah.
some of them even understood how the law worked in the UK at the time.
Dangerous.
And the Diggers song basically is a chant they had that explained why the people needed to join together. And they formed a big protest group and they marched on London. And at the time, the mayor of London shut his whack and made a deal with them. And the king sort of acknowledged that, yeah, okay, we'll try not to press you as much as usual kind of thing. So the people just dispersed. Yeah. And then, of course, the shit just came back again.
Yeah, but that's happened a few times where the peasants marched on the king and got I suppose sort of sorted out, sort of golded up, give them a bit more land, give them a few more rights, and then sent away.
That's part of the problem, and I know Paul will remember this because they've mentioned this in some of their discussions and when they've been in the chat here. A lot of the protests, like similar to what's happened in Ireland recently, is a lot of people will give up and go home again because they're given a certain amount of concession. But basically, what you're being offered is scraps off the Lord's plate. Yeah, you've gone petitioning the Lord saying, hey, you fucker, we're all starving to death because you keep taking all the food. And the fat fucker's sitting there going, oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah, and they take the fucking crumb of bread and they go home again and go, oh, yeah, at least you give us some bread. The same
that's the irony on the Irish people, right? Because they sold the politics, Sinn Féin bullshit as a solution. Yet they should have stuck with the fucking IRA and the revolution.
Yeah, they needed to.
They got hoodwinked and now they're fucking into the EU and everything. They got shafted so fucking hard.
There's a deep
Holy
history.
shit.
The IRA itself was
it's like a punishment they're going through right now. It's like, okay, we're gonna send all the fucking migrants over there. Like,
the IRA was created by the British Empire.
They were
the real IRA then.
The Irish people have been infiltrated by centuries by the British and have been really. So I feel so passionate for the Irish people.
They're like Palestinians. Let's be real.
Yeah, I do.
They're like Palestinians.
They're really holding on.
Yeah, and I would argue the Scottish as well. Yeah.
Yes.
The Welsh have almost been.
The Welsh love it.
The Welsh don't fucking love it. Not the real Welsh don't love it. We take the piss out. We take the piss out of them because they deserve to take the piss out of themselves, like the Cornish take the piss out of themselves.
No, but
and the Irish do a splendid job of being able to take the piss out themselves because they need to. Because you've got to be that in-clicked, that have that heritage, that blood to be able to survive all the shit around you, which they've done for centuries.
How close was Scotland to fucking breaking off?
Yeah, at one point when James took the throne, they could have. Yeah. He could have separated the kingdoms again, but I think maybe he just enjoyed the power of sitting on the throne of the United Kingdoms.
There you go. Oh, hi,
that reminds me. Hello.
Hi.
The crown never left Ire. No.
No. They're greedy fuckers. The Crown Estate,
and they punish you for it. That's why you're getting shafted so hard over there in Ireland.
Punish you for your audacity.
Zero respect for you.
But it reminds me to jump back a little bit to mention something I wanted to, and this is just meant to be a little bit of kind of sarcastic humor, but with a certain element of truth to it, because this is a logically sound argument, right? Part of what the Zionist argument is that they have the right to an ethno-state and that they have the right to defend themselves as an ethno-state.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as in, you got to be Jewish to live there. They'll tolerate a certain amount of others, but really it's a state for Jews. That was the whole idea of it, yeah? And, if you want to have a logically sound debate in that sense, well, if they're allowed to have an ethno-state, so are we, which means they can get the fuck out of our country. Yeah, because they're not English, they're not Welsh, they're not Scottish. So therefore they don't belong within our ethno-state. Goodbye. Get out. Take your Muslim friends with you. Take all your other mates with you. We don't want you in our ethno-state.
Yeah.
So I'm using
their own think like Israelis, like a Zionist Israelis. That's how they want us to think. Yeah. And I don't agree with that at all.
Another
wrong.
Simple sarcastic intent, but just again to make a point.
I get it, but it's wrong, guys. It's not.
If those people living in Golders Green feel so terrified that everyone's coming to get them all of a sudden just because they're Jews, let's just build a wall around Golders Green.
And fuck off to Israel.
Yeah, they love walls, don't they? They love building walls and claiming territory. Give them Golders Green, put a fucking wall around it and make them have a passport. We'll treat them like the Palestinians. Every time they want to leave Golders Green, they've got to go through a checkpoint.
Oh, yeah.
We might stick a baton up their arse every now and then, just like they do to those Gazan children. Yeah. So, okay, well, Will that solve your anti-Semitic problem? Yeah.
hmm
Cool. Okay.
Well, that's the problem as well, right? What's Semite, really?
Yeah, I know.
Not a Jew, is it?
No. Not most
So,
of them, anyway. There are
no.
some genuine Semitic Jews in that area, but a lot of them
Yes,
actually
actual
live in other
Jews.
countries.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of them live in other countries. They live in Iran. They
That's
live
the
in
biggest problem, right?
Ethiopia. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
Ukraine.
that's what I'm saying. Most of the Zionist demographic come from Khazarian roots, not
The Jews.
Palestinian, not Judea. No. Yeah, that's part of the bullshit.
No, the
too.
Jews with well, it's a special kind of a breed, and they do deserve their own kind of special place, right?
Yeah.
Because all the biblical stuff.
Yeah.
But it's pretty clear what the Bible says. Like God has said, I'll give you the promised land when it's time, and you'll everybody will know, right? It's not up to them to fucking decide.
They can't make it happen. God does not
No,
need you to be his
God
hands.
does not. No.
That is
God
blasphemous.
is not about borders.
Yeah, that's human arrogance. That, in a Christian sense, is satanic. It's
I would say so.
Luciferianism.
Well, they've chosen that route, didn't they?
Yeah, you're claiming that you're acting as the will of God, the hands of God. That is such arrogance. Again, ignorance. Yeah, you're ignorant of the possibility of the Godhead, the true Godhead. If you think God needs you to do physical things for him in this realm, you're not following God. That is not God. And that argument has been made many times. Yeah.
If there really is a thing like that, and I have no proof of it, because honestly, no. But he would evaporate all of them, like Thanos in the Marvel movies.
Or
right?
Why did he not just give them their own planet in the first place?
Well,
why has he put them through thousands of years of torture? Why?
Yeah, but yeah.
If he's the great God that they claim he is, why is he literally torturing you for thousands and thousands of years?
Yeah, I concur.
There are parts of the Bible that I truly believe in, but I know there are parts of the Bible that have been redacted by them.
Yeah.
Right? So no, the Bible we are reading on
Thomas, the Gospels of Mary.
Yeah,
there's lots of really influential books. The
exactly.
Books of Enoch.
So yeah. Well, that's gonna come into play soon enough, probably.
Yeah, I think it is, mate. Yeah. And that gives us a really good segue towards the next hour.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have just sort of gone over a little bit. I want to play two songs. One is a song just for the celebration of the date. If you didn't know about today's date, personally, I don't tend to acknowledge this because I don't like playing the kind of Disney game of giving that level of credence to that shit, you know. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek to me. It's like when I filled out the census and said I'm a Jedi on the census, you know. It's just tongue-in-cheek, just to take the piss of it, you know. And then the second one I want to play, it is a music video, but it's more about the visual elements, and it's to create a sort of introduction as we go into the other information I want to talk about. So yeah, we will be back in about, what's it going to add up to? I think it's going to be about 8 minutes total, something like that. So you got time to go and put the kettle on, get yourself a drink, get comfy, enjoy this old classic tune, and then if you can, get back to your seat and look at the screen for the second one, because it's about the visuals more than anything, yeah? So enjoy. May the 4th be with you.
The film you're about to see has no characters. If you spare a little of your imagination, it is a film to describe to you the effect of cymatic frequencies on matter. Everything owes its existence solely and completely to sound.
So
I
yeah,
should
that
have done.
that fucking fucked up the YouTube.
Maybe I should have done the full fucking disclaimer before I played it.
Maybe.
This is not for profit. This is for research,
No,
education,
yeah, well.
critique, commentary. It is not for fucking profit. The
We
original
are
artist
still
is credited.
live technically, so it should
Yeah.
return any moment. So
I included
they
a
haven't
link in
banned
the
our
chat.
stream yet.
So if people want to go to the guy's channel, this is the sort of culmination of multiple experiments that he did. So it's worth having a look, and he's done other stuff as well. Yeah, we will wait until they catch up.
Cookie.
Yes.
Cookie, I just want to say, because of the 2 tunes you played, and we'll come back into YouTube in a minute, just in case, because I haven't said it all year, and I probably won't say it for the next year, happy birthday for whenever your birthday is. I feel the force.
Almost.
Okay?
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You know, I don't ever talk
I know,
about it.
I know,
so,
I know, I know. Just saying it now for any other occasion, before or after. Are we
Yeah,
back
thank
back
you.
with YouTube? We back with YouTube too?
Not yet.
It might have been because it was a bit long as well, because they have a kind of time limit, don't they?
Yeah, it takes a minute before.
Thank you to those that have the Rumble accounts for coming and joining. Say hello, Spanish, if you can hear me. I don't know if you will.
Oi.
And I think I saw Lance as well earlier in the chat. So hello, Lance. But we'll wait for YouTube to kick back in if it does, hopefully.
It's still live, so
okay.
Yeah, it hasn't said the stream's been cut, so it's just them blocking it at their end.
Yeah.
So what
it's how
triggered it?
long. Me playing somebody's copyrighted content, basically, but
Cymatic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
noticed that they didn't do it with the first one, the Feel the Force one.
No.
Cheeky fuckers. Because that's older. That's probably is still under copyright for the label. You know, those big labels don't like to give up on their money makers. But the second one, that's the modern way of the way fucking Google operates. They're very ambiguous how they interpret the principle of fair use.
We're back.
Hey, hello.
We're back. Okay, good.
And hello, welcome back, YouTube. I'm sorry.
Hey, YouTube, you missed. Yeah. All the good stuff.
The secret realm.
Yeah, the secret recipe.
I didn't think to make the full disclaimer before I played that one. But yeah, that was fair use. I put the link
First
in
song
the
was
chat.
okay. Second song. Nope.
If you weren't on Rumble, hello Spanish and hello Lawrence. I'm not sure.
You know what it was, Cookie?
Yeah, YouTube. There's always Rumble. Rumble doesn't do this, so it's YouTube doing it. It's not us.
Cookie. You know what it was, don't you? It was when you were explaining the meaning of life. They decided they then would cut you off, and then it took us 2 minutes to come back, and then by then you and Pete had realised you have got every answer almost answered. I was just amazed with listening. Perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, you missed it.
Yeah. Well, if you missed it, you can go on Rumble.
Yeah, you'll see the whole thing in one go.
You can hear that Paula's lying.
Because now we're going to end up where the video,
terrible liar, actually.
The video that's created afterwards is going to need to be edited so that we can put it on our channels. You know, so.
Oh yeah. This bit is going to be cut out.
Yeah, for those of you that are lucky to
not
hear
live.
Yeah, if you're here live,
yeah. Hello, Nixud. For those of you, if you get to hear it live now, but if you're waiting for the replay, you'll probably have to wait a day or two longer for me or Pete, to get our editions edited and done.
Yeah, somewhere.
Pete's usually the quickest, so check the Starfish channel. It usually takes me at least a day.
I see it.
Can I ask you boys something? Was it always live on Rumble so they could hear everything we were saying? It's only on YouTube. It cut out. Oh, that's great.
There's no cutouts on.
That's a major part of why we have Rumble as the kind of backup broadcast, because they don't get their panties in a twist over stuff like that, and they understand and pay credence to the fair use principle. And especially what gets me is especially in America, because that fair use principle primarily comes from American law.
It's free speech.
It
Principle
comes
number
under the
one,
First Amendment principle. Yeah.
Yep.
As long as we're not trying to exploit the other person's content, like we're trying to plagiarize it in some manner and make money out of it, then we are free to use it as we wish. Yeah, that's the way the fair use principle works, especially when it comes to what's considered journalistic content. In other words, if you're sharing the content for some kind of educational
Well,
or informational
There's that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
They want free
I know.
speech because they want us to. They want to know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. That's part of the live analysis, live sentiment analysis, which many people have covered when they've talked about the rising ability of the technocratic system that they've built. Part of the
When
principle.
Rumble becomes as popular as YouTube, Rumble will become YouTube.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
YouTube will
and
become
then
Rumble
something
again.
else will come up to
Yeah.
It is a continuous arms race.
Yeah, sure.
They create more systems of control, and how shall we put it? The rebellious free thinkers come up with more ways to circumvent their systems of control. Yeah, like mesh
That's the reason
networking,
why
which-
we're not the big channels.
Yeah.
We've been on fucking YouTube since forever.
Yeah. I know for a fact that some of our discussions, some of my rhetoric in particular, but some of the stuff we've covered over the many years of us doing various forms of these shows has been picked up by people who've got major fucking channels. Yeah, and they've made use of our suggestions, basically, or our ideas. So I know we've had an influence over the big discussion over the years. Definitely, absolutely. Proven multiple times. But why do you think I've still only got 2,000 subscribers on my channel? Do you think it's because I'm not consistent and creating content every week? That's part of what YouTube
Well, they
loves,
banned you for
isn't it?
fucking 3 years, so that's a major
But
one.
even before
right?
then, I'd reached this point before then.
Yeah,
That
the
was
fact
why
that
they
you
shut
were
me
one
down.
of those, like one of the big creators that were out there that were banned, right? In that
During the
fucking
COVID,
YouTube. You were one of them. So
I was making better rhetorical arguments and
Steve.
sharing more information than they wanted. So they had to shut me down.
Yeah.
That was their only choice, and I knew it would happen. That's why I set up the backup channel and whatever. But when we started getting like 500, 600 viewers every week, that was when they thought, no, you're on a list. And I know I was on that SPLC list, yeah? Sorry, Paula, go on.
I think somebody finds you really useful as well. Yeah.
Of course.
And that helps them to create their really useful channel. And
it's the same as laws, right? When somebody gets a law case and they put them to the test, like they try to test the law and see if it still works or not, and they find loopholes and and then they start plugging the loopholes.
Yeah.
Right?
As an
It's that.
analogy.
It's like
As an analogy I've used in the past.
The more we know, the more they know. The more that we know. Right?
Yeah.
So we have to be very careful with what do we say. Actually,
I'm being very careful now what
we
I'm saying.
cannot let them
aware.
on too much.
I'm on YouTube, so I got to be careful the words
that
I'm using, and that's why Cookie is nodding because he's aware that I realise it's a two-way system.
It's a play.
Yes.
It's a game.
Yes. Very much.
As an analogy I used many years ago and still relevant in different ways in the sense of this, for example, when the discussion about some of the free men on the land and other legal and lawful alternatives were cropping up like in 2012, 2013, I used the analogy of they like to use us as like rabbits in a fenced paddock. The rabbits will run along the fence looking for the holes. They'll dig into the ground to see how deep in the ground the fence goes to see if they can find any way through it. That's how they like to utilize us, especially when it comes to things like the legislation that they're planning to introduce. They take samples of what they call sentiment analysis, which is, what are the public saying to each other? What are their concerns? What are they talking about? Yeah, like us ranting online, and then they analyze that. Yeah, and this is all done in the back room. This isn't acknowledged by the fucking cabinet. Yeah, this is all done in the
for the people in the
bureaucratic
chat.
system.
They are being analyzed as well.
There are some people who sit there and run game theory analysis using various forms like the classic grid pattern and shit like that. Yeah, fuck Professor Jizzbang. Right. Game theory. No, they do analysis and go, oh yeah, they'll most likely go that direction, and they will take that example and go, okay, hand that to Sage department, and the Sage department will come up with some kind of nudge tactic, a slogan or a theme that they want to encourage the public to take up, which will nudge you towards the direction they want you to choose. That is literally what is happening now, live, 24/7, whether you like it or believe it or not. That is how this system is currently being operated. So our discussions do have an influence on what happens. This is why I keep making the argument that we should keep talking. Yeah, they're planning to introduce AI systems to create governance, to run our countries. Do you want an AI that has a balanced comprehension of how to deal with humans, or do you want it to only be indoctrinated to their ideological bullshit?
Oh, that's the influencer narrative, right? Idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should have 10 million, maybe 1 billion subscribers by now, because we talk like normal people. We are. Well,
yeah, but I am a bit.
Let's be real, right?
Like around the edges, yeah. Can be very salty and sarcastic.
Yeah, but we're open to everybody's fucking arguments as well. Like it's not like we're trying to tell anybody to think away.
Yeah, unless it's a worn-out trope or a psyop that I know is a psyop, like flat Earth bullshit.
Yeah, well, I do think that we are pretty well on the pulse, right, of all the things that are happening in the world. So we're pretty on the edge.
Yes.
Hi, Kitty. Hi,
we're
Kitty.
Living on the edge.
Yeah. So, but when we're talking about like a revolution or those kinds of things, then that does get their attention, like because that shouldn't spread that idea, right?
Those are things that they want.
Free thinking, kind of right. So
but they want.
I think that's why we're dangerous. That's why they're scared of us.
I think they're also scared of us because there's a nuance of people with connective thinking that can join up the dots that a machine can't, and I think that's very graceful of you, Cookie. And there's people that get that information, that then spread that information, and they get closed down. They have to be really careful what they're saying. They're not gatekeepers. They just pick up information like you have over the years and spread it on. And I'm talking about Jeff C, Alan Watt, all kinds of all kinds of different people. I say hail Tony as well, with information and the way we're able to communicate with each other, even ones that we kind of disagree with, and learn that we've got to try to get on for the sake of humanity. But with getting shut down and not being able to speak, there are I think other channels do listen to you and are not plagiarism. Sometimes I don't think it is. I think just taking a message that you're in a very small place that they can maybe give, because I'd heard stuff you said repeated on other people's channels for sure. I definitely have.
Yeah, no.
Which isn't a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. No. And they don't understand why I'm quite happy with that principle working that way.
Yeah, copying is the most, well.
And the idea is the most important.
It's a flattery. Yeah,
flattery. It's flattering, yeah.
The idea.
I'm glad that they pick up on some of the stuff that we're trying to explain here.
Real knowledge, real wisdom is true treasure. Yeah, the monetary earnings that I might be able to get if I monetize my channel and played the whole fucking game with merchandise and self-promotion and all that shit, maybe I could get an all right living out of it. But to me, that is not the principle of how this works. I'm not concerned with monetary material gain.
All the time, Rob.
I wish you two would just get a room, get it over with.
Yeah.
We had a
Just
room.
live stream it, at least you'll get some
well.
subscribers from it.
A fine bromance.
Yeah, but for those people that only see it in a monetary value sense, in a way that YouTube has been manipulated to encourage people to just treat it as a way to earn $1. I'll buy that for $1. To me, that means they've left the path of wisdom. Yeah, I do not disagree with people who do the value for value system. To me, that is the most honourable way to earn a living by helping people gain knowledge and improve themselves and better themselves and stuff like that. Yeah, to me, that's fucking spot on. Yeah, but this idea of you just poach other people's stuff and repeat it. You might change a little bit here and there, but you try to pretend that it's your fucking idea, and then you put a big price tag on it.
Well, I'm
you
not
put
going to
it
sell
behind
you a
paywall.
VPN I don't believe in. So there you go.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. I would never promote or endorse a product I didn't believe in.
No.
Yeah.
No.
The
use a VPN, it's like putting a red flag on your fucking internet traffic.
The salve, I'm quite happy to recommend
Salve,
the salve.
yes.
Yeah, because I know that's a good product. Rob does a really brilliant product in that respect. So I've got no problem with that. That to me is value for value. He's providing a good product.
Oh yeah, any farmer or meats or milks or dairies. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Veggies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would be a good point to play that Dimitri clip, because that would also help. Oh, hello, Steve in the chat. Good evening, mate.
Hi, Steve.
Yeah, you've arrived for the good stuff. But also the way he sort of packages the information he shares, that as well provides a big sort of logos info dump to go along with the stuff I'm going to add into that. So if you got that clip, mate.
Which one?
The Dimitri clip.
Yeah, got it. Let me play it? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Beekeepers are given all resources, empowered to act on their own judgment, outside the system.
Sure you want to do this, honeybee?
Yeah.
Yeah, a similar film, the Black Mirror episode is
very good.
Yeah, it's similar to another film as well called Upgrade. I would recommend watching that if you've never seen it.
Keanu Reeves, isn't it? Upgrade?
No.
Okay, let me
I can't remember his name. He does a lot of typical macho characters, like action characters.
Oh,
But
I see. I got it. Yeah.
I'm not going to give away any spoilers because it would ruin the
got
way
the
the
trailer.
plot unfolds for you. But
Can play the trailer if you want.
we might trigger yet more of the fucking YouTube. But people can look it up for themselves, so it's all right.
Yeah, I'll share the
But-
link to the trailer.
Yeah, that's cool, and thank you. But that gives an idea. I know there was a hell of a lot included in that clip from Dimitri. There is a lot of information out there. It's not hidden history.
His name is
this-
Logan Marshall Green.
Logan,
I don't know.
right? That's probably why I remember, because he's got the same name as the Wolverine character, Logan.
Mm.
Yeah. I know I've seen him in a few other films. I just can't think of they were that like non-memorable kind of stuff, you know.
I watched the
But
movie.
that movie in
Pretty good.
particular, I think that was quite under the radar for most people. Yet the storyline is very, very insightful, you know. So
I'll play it without sound.
yeah, okay,
trailer.
yeah, we can talk over the top of it because that's one of the
Mhm.
things that often disrupts the algorithms, panty
Yeah,
twisting.
that's all right.
But he's a guy who's quite successful in life. He's doing all right for himself, and then he has a car accident. Yeah, and he accepts this tech bro who's meant to be someone like Musk or Teal or, you know,
Mhm.
crazy carp guy. But he accepts his offer of a free implant because it's experimental. And
Yeah.
his injuries are very appropriate for what they want the chip to be capable of helping people with. Basically, as you could see in the clip, it helps him walk again after his accident. But then things start taking a darker turn.
It has an AI incorporated, right?
Yeah,
Like a
and
voice,
basically
yeah.
he starts to lose himself to the AI.
Yeah.
And the AI seems to have abilities to help him, as in it can give him really super strength, basically. Yeah, and he
Yeah.
can resist injuries.
Fight,
It's
yeah.
a little bit like Neo in the Matrix, like that kind of shit, yeah.
Yep.
So he now thinks he's like, oh fucking wow, yeah, oh this is
I
fucking
can
great.
do kung fu.
Yeah, I can take
Wow.
revenge on the people that caused my accident and robbed me, because part of that is he was driven off the road by like some gangsters or whatever. But then, yeah, it doesn't stop there.
No. No.
And
The
that's
AI
right.
wants to help him to stop the AI, really, doesn't it? That's kind of the
I don't want to give away any more spoilers, mate. Watch
Nah,
it.
watch it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
It's one of them well-written storylines that has several twists and turns that you know you're not
Mhm.
going to get the whole picture till towards the end. It's a bit like a mystery novel, you know, a mystery detective novel kind of thing. You won't get the whole info till towards the end,
Mhm.
and then all the previous sequences make sense as they've slotted them together.
Yeah. I think I had that yesterday in the daily, like a clip of people talking about certain movies, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like what's
uh,
yeah.
I did it.
Oh.
How many weeks or months ago? We sort of did a rough list, and
Yeah.
like I said, that was just a rough list. If I
Mhm.
really spent the time and effort, I know I could literally write like a top 5, top 50, or top 100 of all
Yeah,
the
top 100
movies that have been
probably, yeah.
produced over the years that are meant to influence us, right from the beginning with things like Forbidden Planet. Yeah,
That's
Forbidden Planet introduces the idea of people having technology to such a degree, such a level that they can create anything at a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we
Can
get
I-
to things like The Day the Earth Stood Still, and lots and lots and lots and lots. Sorry, Paul.
Lots.
Go on.
It's not just influencing us, it's predicting to us what they're already doing.
Exactly. That's the big reason of it. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. That's why I think, you know, movies like The Matrix were not about helping you free yourself from a system that was exploiting you. It's quite the opposite. It was
But
to
we're
feed
all
you.
individual.
It's to feed you incorrect philosophical arguments. And I know because I laughed at several points during the movie when we were watching it in the cinema, and the rest of the cinema was silent. But I was laughing because some of the shit they were coming out with, like, that don't make any sense, right? But anyway, the point was they wanted to implant the idea in the public of this simulacrum that you were living in. And they've pursued that principle now with the simulation theory, which I'm not going to do now because it takes a while to explain why and how. But the whole thing is a fucking psyop. It's to keep people trapped in materialist thinking. It makes zero sense. Because if there is a simulation, who made the simulation? And they're living in a simulation as well. Who made that simulation? And it goes on infinitely. So it's a null argument. It could be a simulation in one description. This entire thing could be described as a simulation. That doesn't mean it is. And it's a non-falsifiable argument, which means forget about it. It's just a thought exercise. It's a what-if thinking exercise. Let's explore the possibility. You can't prove it. You can't disprove it. So it's meaningless. Yeah. But they keep feeding the public this idea primarily because they want you to think you're in some kind of game. They want you to psychologically adjust to the principle that you have no influence on this reality. You are inside somebody else's mechanism and they are pulling the levers from the outside. So you just have to go along and press the buttons and hope you level up. Maybe you'll get a banana.
Good point to share Paula's clip of Mr. Prince Charles in his little garden, maybe. That's fucking him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acting like he's a human.
As an early prediction, we're going to be going over by at least half an hour, possibly an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go.
There's a Prince King Chucky.
Come on.
King Chucky.
The human.
No. Yeah, it's all right. You can see.
Oi.
All right.
See, that looks good. That's a good haul.
Well, the great thing is to give them something in return. At least they could peck about out here. They love it. There we are.
Good little guy. I can peck about in the bush.
The other thing you'll notice, not just the fact that everything he's got, his clothing, the hen house, everywhere's perfectly manicured. There is nothing.
He dressed for going to the hen house. Yes.
Yeah.
Can you give me my hen house suit, please, darling? Yes.
And it was called Cluckingham Palace, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whimsical rich. But he has his organic eggs, 4 of them lined up in the morning.
Yeah. Cooked to different timings so that he can, well, obviously his butler takes the top off them for him, but he can taste test each one and decide which one he's going to have, which one's the perfect temperature for him.
This is what he does on his day off.
Yeah.
Do you think he has his soldiers lined up for his eggs to dip into?
Yep.
Does he ever work?
No. He goes around and shakes hands and feeds his chickens, if that's what he's supposed to really believe.
He promotes certain ideas and he exudes certain thematic principles.
Yeah.
That's what the monarch now does.
Look how clean his clothes are.
That basket
that
and
cuff.
that bucket and all of it.
Look at the cuff on that shirt. If you were picking eggs up for real.
Who has a bucket like that?
Did you notice how clean all the eggs were?
That's what I'm saying. Everything is immaculate. Look at it. Even the
that
path,
to
the
me-
gate. Look at that gate. That gate is a couple £100. At least 500 quid
Yeah,
for a gate.
Yeah.
To
No
me,
moss on
that
that one.
indicates that, I mean, look, they're perfectly clean. There's no bits of feather or poo on them. That's not natural. That means the servant has been in that hen house, cleaned all the eggs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, immaculate. Look at the lawn. Yeah, not a bit of chicken shit on it.
Yeah, and he don't do fuck all of that. He's got literally 100 fucking gardeners doing that shit for you. And I know there's many people that will argue for in favour of the monarchy and say that they're there as icons. You know, that's what they do. So
Yeah,
it
no,
comes
that's
with
a
this kind of
beehive
privilege,
bullshit.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. It's based on that beehive principle of the monarch.
Yeah.
The monarch sitting at the top of the nest,
Yeah.
sending out frequencies that affect the behaviour of everyone else in the hive. That's why I wanted you to play that Dimitri clip, yeah, because he shows the evidence that's out there that the principle of the bee and the beehive is very much incorporated into Freemasonry.
Of course.
And it wasn't there right from the beginning. It's something, oh, hi, Mahatma, good to see you. Right? It's something that they adopted in the Middle Ages based on the church's research of insects, flora and fauna, right? Because the early science began in the church institutions, not because they were cleverer. It was partly because they had access to literature, as in, you know, they were literate, they were taught to read and write. And most of them, you know, had access to some form of library where they could read tomes and manuscripts and whatever. But they also had time on their hands to do that kind of study and research. Yeah, because they were fed by the tithe that was brought to them by the local congregation. So the principle was, you know, well, they've got the ability to do this kind of research. And originally it may have begun from noble endeavors of them trying to pursue evidence and proof for God and his power and his divinity, etc. Yeah. And also theological research, you know, just refining their own ideas and arguments about God and the ideas of the religion and whatever, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it meant that the original scientific research begins with those church-controlled institutions. It then eventually becomes, because the Freemasonic societies were operating in the background, yeah, they did already exist, but they were in a form that was not exactly public. They were very much in the background, and they were controlled by the aristocracies of the time. And you had things like, as well, you know, think about the remnants of the Templars and other of the holy
The
warriors.
realms. The kingdoms
that passed
and the
on
realms.
from that passed on from the early medieval ages. You're talking like the late first millennia, so 800, 900 AD, 1000 AD, etc., and then into what's known as the Middle Ages, and that's when you get the rise of the early sort of flowering of Western development and the building of bigger cities like Paris and, you know, Rome and stuff like that. The beginnings of the Venetian city-states in the 13th and 14th century and their rise to power, the rise of people like Machiavelli and their control of all that fucking research and science and information. You know, he had a massive spy network all around the world. Yeah, control of the information being brought in from the East and the
That's
Orient.
right. It's that Michelangelo kind of thing, observing nature and turning it into
natural
a fucking,
philosophy.
like, yeah.
It's what becomes codified as the subject matter under the title natural philosophy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's why we're living in a beehive, is because they observed how it fucking functions and they thought,
Yes.
well,
they were very strong believers in divine order. Yeah, we often talk about the principle
order.
of divine
Natural
law
order,
and
they call it,
divine
right?
order. Yes. So they were attempting to study how God causes nature to do what it does. And the reality, it is true that nature orders itself into hierarchies. Yeah, in all parts of the ecosphere, pretty much. You know, there's little pockets where you could be argued that it doesn't quite work the same, especially when you've got some of the creatures that are asexual and things like that, you know, or some of the archaic bacteria and stuff like that. They don't have the same kind of replication systems and whatever, and they don't need a kind of hierarchical order.
Night, Kitty.
Good night, Kitty. Meow. Meow. Sleep well. But yeah, the principle of transposing or trying to learn from how divine order emanates in the natural world, they then try to impress that upon the general public. They did see us as ignorant cattle, that needed ordering, that needed tending, like farmers looking after sheep on a farm. Yeah, that somewhat becomes encoded not only into the religion itself. I mean, those kind of principles were there early on, but again, they become transposed onto the public, and we are expected to behave like a flock, which is why we're given things like a Judas goat to lead us to slaughter when required. You think you go into the holy realm or whatever. No, they just decided that they want your energy now. They want your stuff now. You know that clip I played right early on of the Scottish guy killing the foppish Englishman because the fop was trying to steal his stuff. That's literally what was happening at that time. Yeah, because of the way the laws had changed at the time. Then some of the English lords were given rights over parts of Scotland. So they basically went in and ethnically cleansed the area and stole all the land and property off the people there. And if you argued, they'd set you up in shit like that and have you killed or have you prosecuted and put in jail forever and shit like that. No? So this kind of enforced expectation of principles of order are not just about psychological trickery. All right. Some of this begins with the building of the Gothic churches that begins in about the Middle Ages. So again, you're talking like 13th, 14th century onwards, and you start to get what are referred to as the Gothic churches, like Chartres Cathedral in France was one of the first, I think. And this was based on principles of geometry and engineering and architecture that was brought to Europe primarily by the Templars, basically passing knowledge along the Silk Road under principles of control and profit, because the knowledge was kept within groups that eventually become groups like the Freemasons. Yeah, they helped the Masons of the time learn how to create bigger and more complicated buildings that could last for literally thousands of years. You know, they remain standing for thousands of years. And for the Masons, that was like printing gold. You know, it's like, fuck me, you can show us how to build shit. Yeah, everyone's going to want to pay us to build their new palaces and blah, 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 which is eventually what begins to happen. Yeah, it begins with the churches and the building of the cathedrals. But part of the reason it begins there, and not just the Templars, other groups as well, like the Hospitallers, had a hand in a lot of this stuff that happens. If anything, the Hospitallers are probably a bit more embedded into the long-term narrative because they survived over time. They didn't get fucked over by the aristocracy who realised how much power they could potentially have. That was why they killed off the Templars. But anyway, I'm sure people are well aware of all that kind of story and history. But part of the principle of what they were getting the Masons to do was to learn how to create buildings that not only tapped into the telluric electricity current system of the planet itself, natural philosophy, telluric currents are a real thing. Don't buy the bullshit woo-woo, the claim that it's just woo-woo hippie ideas about ley lines and shit like that. This is a known science. Our planet generates electrical fields. The electric currents moving through the ground and the air are often usually referred to as telluric. It's just a word they decided fitted the fact that it's generated in a natural environmental sense. Yeah? I can't remember the etymology of it. I think it comes from India originally, Indo-European, as they say in the etymological books. But the Templars had learned some knowledge from somewhere, most likely while they were in the Holy Land, or while they were talking with other knowledgeable people in the Orient or in the Middle East. They accumulated this knowledge of how to construct buildings that were basically energy engines, right? And that included the comprehension of frequencies, not just about electrical fields. It's about the acoustic effect that combines with that electrical field or can even create it. Yes, exactly, mate. Toroidal is a major part of how they're doing it. Yes, the principle.
Oh, I got a good clip on that one. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do. But as part of that example, show where is it? Which one am I thinking of? No, I haven't actually caught. Whatever, I'll carry on. I'm confusing myself, thinking I'd got an image to hand that I haven't. It was that clip I showed a few weeks ago about the Rupert Sheldrake presentation, where he's talking about the plants and how the plants follow a toroidal electrical field. Please remember that a magnetic field is created by the flow of electricity. Right? The dielectric field is what creates the magnetic force. So when we talk about a toroidal field, that is usually used as the kind of descriptive way to show the influence of a magnetic field. That toroidal shape is being generated by the flow of electricity moving through the center of that toroidal shape, through the middle of the donut, as it were. So there is a polarity to it. The polarity follows what direction the current is flowing. So the plants know that it releases a chemical based on which direction the flow is going. So it knows that it needs to create shoots at one end of its stem. If you break a stem off a plant, that was the way Sheldrake was demonstrating this year. It knows that it needs to send shoots, sprout shoots out of one end and roots out of the bottom end. And yes, just like an apple, which is why apples are used in that reference to the biblical
It looks like
story.
a magnet, right? Like a magnet.
Yeah.
Kind of a toroidal shape.
Yes, this is part of their research they were doing back in those days. Though. Yeah, they were also realizing that plants, the flora and fauna around them, seem to follow flows of telluric energy. They didn't really necessarily understand telluric energy in the way I'm describing it, but they could see, through example, that the environment around them seemed to be following an invisible current, like an invisible stream of water. You would be surprised how the mechanism of energy frequency actually works and how it looks like.
I see as it is.
See it as it is.
See it as it is.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I possibly would be surprised, but you'd be surprised at how much research I've done on this subject over many years. So, yeah, maybe I'll be surprised, but we'll see. But the point is, the principle of that toroidal energetic flow, right? It's not just about generating an electrical field. That has been understood from ancient knowledge for a long time. Yeah, as Nitzer's just put in the chat, the piezoelectric effect. And the inverse effect, I'll give a shout out to Jeffrey Drum and some of his research for this. I think it's vitally important to add into that principle because the inverse effect creates sonic waves, right? Very low frequency, but basically it's creating sound waves from electricity. Yeah, talk about the word of God. Yeah, making sound, presenting your will into reality out of nothing. I've just literally created a shockwave in this room. It's not exactly going to go very far because it's going to bounce off all the hard surfaces in this room. But I created a sound wave out of nowhere. Potentially, if I could create a sound wave that has a certain cymatic shape that I know can cause an influence on biological form, especially on the thinking within a brain, because please remember, your thinking is electrical stimulation. There's a little electrical charges jumping from neuron to neuron in your brain at the moment. Yeah, same as happening in mine. So if you can influence by frequency the way those neurons are firing, which has been proven many times, it's not that difficult to do. You just need a strong electromagnet or something that can project a strong electromagnet effect outwards, like the LRAD cannons, etc., or certain sound frequencies. As you saw in that video, hopefully you got to see most of it, didn't get cut off by fucking YouTube. But the different styles of cymatics that he uses hopefully give people more of a comprehension of when you see the classic, let's see if I can find it in the video. without actually playing it again. Pause. Thank you. This is for educational purposes only, YouTube, you fucking panty twisters. But that's the kind of classic image of cymatics experimentation that most people know. And what you're seeing there is a flat two-dimensional cross-section of a three-dimensional shape. Please don't think that's just a flower from the sound that's coming through that tone generator. It's not a flat flower. It's a three-dimensional form. This is why, and I looked for other examples of this experimentation, but there's not that many good ones on YouTube at the moment because I think it's somewhat of an avoided subject matter for a lot of the media. But it is being studied in various universities. The only thing that bothers me in that sense is it's within the academic world, so obviously it's going to be controlled and whatever. But anyway, there has been some experiments done with what are called ferrous fluids. That's what he's doing with this one, yeah? That tray in front of the keyboard is a pool of ferrous fluid. Ferrous fluid is basically like an oily, sticky liquid that has microfine iron powder in it.
Yeah, metal. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's magnetic. It can be influenced by magnets. There's some good examples of this that you'll find on the internet, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
But
Cool stuff.
one of the things that I like about the ferrous fluid experiments is you get a bit closer to seeing the full three-dimensional form of the cymatics. In this one, it doesn't really get a massive movement. He's got three little tone generators or speakers under that pool. I think they're tone generators, which is slightly different, but pedantic technicalities.
You can play it without the audio, Cookie.
Yeah, okay. Let me turn it down and see if we can get just this bit. The one with the bass drum is another good example as well. The sheer size of the bass frequencies because of the way it moves the water. But we'll come back to that one. Wait for the clickety-clickety-click. Yeah, look at the size of them freaking frequencies on fat waves. But you see there, it's not going up very high simply because you'd have to sustain the tone for it to keep its form in the way that we see on the Chladni plate.
Yeah, works better in a vacuum, I think, right?
Yeah. And I have seen some experiments like that one where they've used like three-dimensional electromagnetic emitters. Because I didn't have time to find video examples of a lot of this stuff. But I will mention things like the what's called the standing wave phenomena, even though it's not exactly a phenomena because it's well studied and well known and understood largely. It's just that it's a bit confounding to the standard model of physics because if done correctly, it enables weightlessness. So it often comes under the category of anti-gravitics now because it sort of defies gravity. But it's not defying anything. It's just creating a pocket in the flow of energy that is the principle that we refer to as gravity. Gravity is not a pulling force, it's a pushing force.
They immediately fucking pulled our stream again. Jesus.
There you go. Yeah, I thought they would.
Can you take that down? Take it down.
You don't like it?
No.
We'll give it a few moments, see if they allow us back again for the people on YouTube.
Yeah.
But Rumble's still with us, thankfully. YouTube don't like it. Yeah, YouTube don't like that.
Thanks for sticking with
YouTube when it's back.
Yeah, let me know.
Even the visuals triggers them. It's like that should tell you something, right? That fucking hell. How
also,
sensitive can you be?
Somebody might have flagged the videos.
No, but that's the purest form of vibration when it goes all around and up, all the way through. It transforms you.
Yep.
So if you can see those cymatics, there's a difference putting your head on the earth and maybe feeling a train on a train track coming. That's still two-dimensional. It's still kind of two-dimensional. But to have it where you feel yourself being vibrated from within and lifted up, that's the three-dimensional. So seeing it there, I think music can, if you're close enough, possibly you get the vibes. Maybe I think sex can do it to you.
Part of my argument that music absolutely
We're
does
back.
similar.
Okay, we're back now.
Right, cool. Well, welcome back, YouTube. Sorry, that's them just being cunts
Yeah.
again.
Even the visuals, and that, you know,
Yeah.
like I said
I
in the
made-
comments,
I
let's
made
just
it-
say something like,
Yeah, I made it clear
missed it.
earlier. We shared a link to this guy's channel. We're not trying to exploit his video. We're not doing any of this for
No,
profit.
we're not monetized at all. It's
No.
YouTube. They
So
don't
it's
want
fair
us to know.
use, so they can fuck off.
Yeah.
But anyhow, what we were talking about was just the, well, if you managed to see it before it cut off, the ferrous fluid elements, I think that was still on there, wasn't it? At what point did it cut off? Can anyone remember? Well, maybe I'll just mention the next bit I'd been talking about, the standing wave phenomena. Yeah, because we'd mentioned the three-dimensional ferrous fluid experiments, yeah? What they were doing was building a three-sided cube, you know, just three sides of a cube. And on each side, there were rows of little electromagnetic emitters. And they were putting certain frequencies through each emitter. And from those frequencies, it would create a waveform, yeah, that would create a cross. Think of it in 3 dimensions. With those 3 sides, it would create an XYZ frame within that cube, yeah. So they've got this electromagnetic field being generated, like a crosshatch of electromagnetic waves. And within each little sort of pocket that was created in between the waveform of each wave, you get that standing wave phenomena. Because gravity is not what they teach you in school. It's not a pulling force. It's not a fucking magnet. It is the literal flow of electricity through the plasma currents that form this reality. So it is a pushing force. That is why it is a weak force compared to the power of the sheer electrical energy running through the plasma currents, through the Birkeland currents. Yeah, it is a side effect of electromagnetic flow, the same as all magnetism is. Yeah, magnetism is formed by the flow of the electrical currents. That's why it has a north-south polarity and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and things like bar magnets just act as a concentrator for the emanation of that flow, which is why you end up with the field around it. And it is why every electrical generator ever built does not generate electricity. Yeah, it just creates a conduit between the electrical field that exists, the ether field, and a connection that we can tap into. And if you learn about how those generators are constructed, it should make simple sense to you. It's not complicated. You wrap copper wire around a magnet, yeah, and then you spin it. And the vortex is created of that magnetic field, and the electricity is sucked into the copper wiring. Yeah, because that's what the ether field does. When you prod it, when you create a vortex, it opens a portal. Yeah, I know this might sound woo-woo, it's not. Yeah, but you think
Can
of
I
it
show you the latest tokamak run they did in Japan, I think?
Yeah, let me just say this. Yeah, it creates a separation, because that's what vortices do. Yeah, by spinning, the gyromotive force creates a sucking pressure or a sucking effect, and that pulls positive, negative. It creates an opening, and then the ether energy can emanate through that opening. Go on, mate. Yeah.
I'll prelude a little bit because
Yeah.
there's something happening in this video, and they try to explain it, and I'll get to that. But it looks like fucking science fiction. But here we go. Here's the tokamak running for 20 seconds, I think. So it's the sparkly things, what they're not.
Yeah, sprites.
Uh-huh.
You know, I've suggested that. Well, many people have
I'll
suggested
wait for
that
it. It gets better.
hypothesis.
Look at this. Look.
There's the goggle
Look.
eyes. Yeah,
Yep.
the owl.
Look. Oh. Yeah.
Where do you think the symbolism of the owl
Phew!
comes
And there it
Yeah.
goes. Yeah. So they're saying like, yeah, no, it's creating matter out of antimatter,
from?
out of nothing.
Which is a literal
But
impossibility.
I don't know what the fuck that is. It looks like a portal to me. Like,
It's something emanating, yes.
yeah.
But it probably is just ether energy trying to emanate into some
This is at
form.
100 million degrees.
Yeah, and then just getting reabsorbed into that plasma
Mhm.
vortex.
And this is Bob
Yeah,
Bob
that's
Green
classic.
will have a
Yeah,
orgasm on this, but
yeah. Many of us, many people have talked about that goggle eye or the owl imagery, that symbolism,
Mhm.
and this argument, this hypothesis, this theory has
They've been here
presented.
before. We've done this.
Yeah.
We did this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Many
and it's
times.
people have tried to put this information in front of the public many times, and the system does not want you to understand this. They want you to stay in a materialist mindset because then you will accept artificial scarcity. That's literally what it is. Yeah. They want you to think that you have to pay to get your stuff. You have to accept rationing if they tell you it's in short supply. It creates a hierarchical structure of control over resources.
That's
it
10
keeps
times
them in
or 100
positions of
times
power.
fold hotter than the sun. 100
Yeah,
million degrees.
yeah, but
It's
remember
like
that
hotter than the sun. It's like
yeah,
at
there's
the
different
plasma
layers.
level, at the
Yeah,
corona level, right?
Yeah, there's different layers of the sun at different temperatures.
Yeah,
But
the
yeah,
corona.
I know what you
the
mean.
corona.
Yeah.
No, plasma, fucking that level.
Yeah.
So,
it's not exactly good to try and step in there.
the sad thing is they try to turn it into steam energy again, like something steam powered, right? They try to cook water with it, but yeah.
So that principle of they know full well that this is not just about psychological control. I mean, in that surface level of trying to persuade you of a certain thinking pattern or concept. Yeah, I'll throw in a classic quote at this point. The mark of an educated mind is being able to entertain an idea without necessarily accepting it. And that's from Aristotle. Yeah, the idea being, and this was when he founded the Great Library and what could be argued as the first Western university. This is basically about the fact that, look, we've got to be able to consider every possibility. That doesn't mean you accept it as being proven. Yeah. If you're really a genuine, honest, inquiring mind looking for the truth, you have to look at all possibilities. You might reject an idea or concept or a suggestion or a hypothesis, etc. Like for me, rejecting the simulation theory is a bit of an easy choice for multiple reasons. I find problems with it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I don't reject these science experiments either, right? Like these tokamak fucking things, because it proves our fucking point. Like, there you go.
They knew in the ancient past how to access this energy.
Yeah.
They knew how to utilize it.
Well, at the LNR, at a cold fusion.
The LNR
level. Yeah.
But I also think the plasma tech as well, especially when it comes to the remains of that knowledge and technology that came to us through what's referred to as Egypt. Yeah, as well as the Babylonian stuff. Babylonian magic was based on the same principles. Yeah. It was talking about how to control energy right from the source of that energy. But the point being, those people that have been influencing the development of global civilization and the knowledge base of the general population know full well about this truth, but they keep it from the rest of us. That's why they secured it into secret societies like the Freemasons and others, the Knights of Malta and all that shit, yeah? Because an ignorant population is easier to control and manipulate. You don't want people comprehending this knowledge, this truth, because otherwise they will outright reject your claims of authority as being the utter bogus bullshit that they are. Yeah. Oh, you got royal blood, mate. Oh, yeah, I've got monkey blood. Oh, yeah, fuck you and your fucking claims to authority, you cunt. Go and fucking collect the eggs from your chickens that your servants have already washed and cleaned for you. You fucking twat. Sorry, I'm a bit anti-monarchy, to say the least. But yeah, this kind of principle of how the reality of the world of energy around us, that stuff that we can't see, but has a major influence on how we live. It has an influence on our general health, which is why principles like electroculture, where you start bringing electrical flow back into the soil and the environment of the plants you're growing, is conducive to the growth of the plants. That's proven again and again and again. Putting seeds on, I know Lopson will remind me, it's the south pole, isn't it, of a magnet? You put a seed on the south pole of a magnet, leave it for like, what, overnight, and it improves the germination possibility of that seed. Because not every seed is viable, yeah? Any good gardener or farmer will tell you this. Any good weed grower will tell you this. Not every seed germinates, which is why nature has a principle of abundance where you plant one plant, as in one that successfully grows, and it gives you hundreds of seeds in return. Yeah, because the seeds are basically based on a principle of the chance of survival. The more of them they are, the more likely the plant gene will survive and carry on. So in the same way, we are also meant to be fruitful, yeah, because the idea being we should create more than ourselves, yeah, having at least 3 children to make sure you not only replace the current population, but you grow the current population. Once you start dropping below 3, you're only just balancing, yeah, you're only just keeping up with replacement. And if it drops below 2, no, you're in a losing game. Your particular gene pool, your particular haplotype is going to be dying out. Which is why, again, you should not believe their fucking eugenics propaganda about there being too many of us and all that shit. But anyway, let me get back on track. Otherwise, we'll be more than an hour over time. They know full well that this energy exists. The more study they've made of the galaxy out there, and there's lots of different imagery I could have picked to show this, but this is a general map of the plasma connections in the galaxy. You know, they've given more acknowledgement now to this reality because they can't deny it because the sheer amount of visible evidence is becoming available to us through the technology. And there are literally thousands and thousands of amateur astronomers that look at this kind of stuff, you know. So this is not about NASA controlling everything to do with space, man. No, fuck off. That is the ignorant kind of shit they want you to, that's the attitude they want you to have. Yes, NASA will tell you a load of fucking bullshit. That's their job. Their job is to bamboozle your mind so you don't really comprehend what's going on up there. Yeah, to feed you a narrative that's based on hopium, to deceive you into believing that they're going to take you into the future out there in space. You might be lucky if they take you. If you're a good little pet or servant, yeah, they might allow you to go with them. But this idea of going out into space is not for you. It's not for us. Yeah, that's always been a hopium lie. Has been right from the fucking 60s. But this demonstrates how the natural world beyond our own ecosphere, beyond our own planet, is all a network, a web of plasma connections, of Birkeland current connections, that link together, like as was it Velikovsky that said it, pearls on a string? Yeah, little Z pinches that create a nexus of energy collection that then forms potentially into stars and solar systems or nebula, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. And in the same manner, your brain is almost a fractal copy. I think it is a fractal, you know, there's only one fractal layer difference. But the way your brain develops is exactly the same as those stellar clusters develop. As you grow, you create neural connections. The more you learn about this physical reality, when you're a tiny infant and you're just learning how to make your arms come to your mouth so you can eat the next thing you fancy trying, and you figure out how to make your legs work and you start to learn how to walk, that's creating little neural connections. Some of those neural connections only might have one or two contacts. Some of them, like in this image, might have multiple connections. Yeah, and different neural clusters will become more defined than others. Different ones will become more embedded or semi-permanent than others. Some more recent science would suggest or point towards neural plasticity to the point that it's not really accurate to claim that any of them are ever permanent. Yeah, there is a potential, and some of the MK Ultra and Monarch experiments were pursuing this kind of idea. That was why they were flatlining people and stuff like that. Yeah, some evidence shows that you can literally wipe someone's brain and start again. Literally take them back to the same level they were as an infant, remove all knowledge, and then you can indoctrinate them however you want, But I think maybe, because they like to tell us that their weapons are more powerful than they really are. So how much absolute truth there is to that, I don't know. I'll leave that a little bit open. But certainly large parts of our neural cluster development can be changed over time. Yeah, you can, in a way, as some people would describe it, especially those that promote the simulation theory, who suggest that you are just robots running programs. So you can then reprogram yourself. You can delete one operating system and insert a different one. Or you can add different apps, Who's off to bed then? Good night to those people that are off to bed. If you're not able to comprehend the vastness of the reality around you, never mind. Go to bed and explore the dream world where, funny thing is, you seem to be able to go anywhere and do whatever the fuck you want. It's almost like it's a completely different reality. But don't believe that shit. Nah, it's just woo-woo shit, innit, man? Yeah. Wake up the next day, rinse, repeat, go back to work, drink a beer, complain about £10 a beer. Same thing again, day in, day out. Good little guy. You are fuel in the system. Well done. Sorry, I'll stop being sarcastic and get on with it. But that, compared to that, it has been shown multiple times that there is a fractal correlation. It's fractal because it's not quite exactly the same, but it is a reiteration of the same patternation. Yeah. So reality emanates in fractal layers from the most basis level of what we refer to as the earliest elements on the periodic table. So things like hydrogen, and then you add things like oxygen, you end up with H2O. Funny thing is, H2O as a molecule forms a kind of triangle. Yeah. You have the hydrogen sort of at the pinnacle, and the two oxygen molecules are sort of connected in at an angle. So it's 3 points, almost like a triangle. And what is, I think it's the second form in the Platonic solids forms. The first one is a circle, the second one is a triangle. Yeah, so reality begins to emanate at that basis layer. And then layer upon layer, it gets more and more complicated, like a fractal. Yeah, each reiteration or each further emanation gets more complicated. It's to a power more complicated. What that power is, it's difficult to estimate, but it's certainly when you get high up enough levels, you're talking vast numbers. Googleplex numbers kind of level of shit. I think that's partly why they called it Google. But that then, hopefully you can see somewhat what I'm trying to suggest here, or I am hypothesizing, and not much of this is really my own original thinking. A lot of this kind of subject matter has been demonstrated many, many times. Yeah, tetrahedron is a three-sided triangle, isn't it, right? Three-sided pyramid. Yeah, so it's 3 to the power of 3, 33, magic number, I think. Please remind me if I'm getting that right, because if not, it needs correcting. But I do think that's what a tetrahedron is. Maybe. I'll wait for somebody to reply. But yeah, the point is we are primarily saltwater batteries. Yeah, our body is a saltwater battery. Maybe I should say in a more accurate sense. Your mind is potentially something different that comes from the ether field directly as pure consciousness. But your physical emanation into this reality, the antenna that acts as your spacesuit in this realm, your flesh suit, yeah, that is a saltwater battery generator. Yeah, your heart creates an energetic field, your auric field, your energy body, your energy self, and it does so by flowing energy up, which is why the Eastern traditions have those chakra principles of the, almost you could describe it as the Jacob's ladder principle in a biblical sense, of the rising energy, the Kundalini energy to the crown chakra, etc. That's because what they're referencing is the flow of energy being generated by your heart. Yeah, your heart creates an electromagnetic field for you, as well as drawing energy from the ground, which is why we should really walk barefoot, or we should wear natural product shoes like leather soles, or something similar like canvas, something that is organic and allows energy to flow through it naturally. Really, you should be barefoot. But anyway, yeah, your energy flows upwards. Your spiritual, your energetic self flows upwards. Your materialistic self, your gross form, as some would describe it, flows downwards. Your digestion system relies on what we refer to as gravity to help the digestion process. Yeah, everything goes downwards. It comes out the other end. But also your body is a energy generator. All your muscles, when actuated, generate a small electrical charge. It's microvolts, but when it's all combined together, it's a fair amount of extra energy to fuel your energetic body. And as we are mostly water, or largely water, that's why we are basically walking saltwater batteries. So, knowing that, if you know how to influence plasmatic fields, even through the use of sound, like through sonic waves, somatic waves, you can construct buildings. Oh, is that fresh tea? Oh, don't stir it so loud.
Ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
Sorry.
Making me jealous. I want fucking tea and pipe smoke now. Where are them hobbits? Fetch me my pipe weed. But yeah, that energy flow, if you've learned how to construct certain shapes that are either restrictive or conducive to that energy flow, you can create literal energetic effects within the people who move through those spaces. Again, I reference the Gothic churches. They applied construction knowledge that wasn't just about how to build bigger and higher and stuff like that. That was part of it. But it was also built in a certain style and shape, utilizing sacred geometry that was conducive to the flow of the telluric energy and the environment around it, as I said earlier, yeah? So then you, as an electrical being, which is what you are primarily, walk into that church or that cathedral. You're going to feel an energetic change. And then when you get a bunch of monks start chanting certain frequencies or ringing bells that have a certain frequency output, again, cymatic influence, that's going to affect you biologically, chemically, on a neurological level. It's going to influence your thinking. These I mean, I keep referencing the Gothic churches as one principle, yeah, because a lot of people get a bit obsessed over Western culture in relation to the Freemasons, because they did have a big influence, which I'll come back to in just a sec. But to make the point that you can also see this exampled in other ancient constructions, such as the Kennet Long Barrow in England. That's been proven again and again. If you make certain sounds, certain frequencies.
If you've experienced, I'm sure you have, been in a cathedral or a church with a pure sound resonance, and there is maybe just one voice that is pure and making that sound, it could kind of bounce everywhere and come into you, let alone a cacophony of sound, which could be voices, an organ, it could be other instruments, but it does bounce around. But if there's a bell, the bell does also vibrate for the walls, down for the ceiling, round to the floor, and back up again. So it makes that synaptic woo, up and down, because it's all around you. Like almost when somebody strokes you at the back of the neck or around your kidneys, it makes you woo, makes you feel funny. It's that same woo.
That sensation of somebody walking across your grave, as the saying goes.
Yeah.
Good night, Frank. Yeah, that's the Kundalini energy. Or that's how it would be described in an Eastern tradition sense,
Yeah.
But yes, they understood that the combination of the sacred geometry of the building itself, that could have an influence to sight. Yes, it certainly had a psychological influence of just being impressive in a way that the average public could never ever conceive possible. This was like wonders of the new world kind of thing, the Renaissance. Look, I should say the Enlightenment first, but also unbeknownst to the majority of people, you have to be quite in the inner circles to have access to this kind of hidden knowledge of. They knew full well that it had an actual influence on people's thinking. As I mentioned, Kennet Longbarrow had been proven again and again and again. If you go in there and certain sound frequencies or chanting or whatever is done, the stones in there are highly conductive, and they're also highly resonant because of that conductivity, because of that inverse piezo effect. They basically feed back. It would be negative ions coming out from the piezo effect. So the crystalline veins within the granite in the stones is releasing negative ions into the atmosphere around you. So you would feel energized. You would feel uplifted by the experience. That it would be euphoric. The hypogeum in Malta, same thing, same principle, same science, same technology. There are many, many sites around the world where it's not restricted to just the Freemasons or Western culture. This was a known ancient knowledge and technology that somehow got lost or restricted from us. Potential for ancient catastrophe and whatever is a possibility, but basically we're in a situation where we're just starting to piece this stuff back together, or we have been certainly since the middle of the last century, the 50s or the 60s, where a lot of this started to really get pulled together.
It's like resurgent stuff again, right? We keep reinventing the wheel over and over and over again.
I think it's every third generation. This energy begins to re-emerge, and people gather this knowledge together again, and then the cabal come along and go, "Oh no, not allowed!" Ooh, and they fuck it all up again, and we have to start again. That again is, I think, a principle that they work with, the three generations. You can't influence the adults of the time. They're set in their ways. They know what they want. They want to get on with their own lives and do their own stuff. The grandparents, in a very similar way, are probably even more staunch in their self-beliefs and whatever. But the children, you can influence the children. You can indoctrinate the children if you control the education system. So you begin changing the minds of the children. The children then become the adults. That means you've already formed the mindset of that adult demographic. So then you just got to wait for the grandparents to die out, which is why they tend to wear.
There's no hope then.
Get old. This is something they've been working on now for centuries. Right? Rinse and repeat. Every 3 generations, rinse and repeat. So let me get to my sort of conclusion. So I feel I've made enough of an argument to show that they definitely knew there was a literal energetic effect. It wasn't just about making buildings that impressed people. And this as well, you can see as exampled in the growth of Western civilization and the development of the cities of all the major Western powers, especially Europe. I mentioned earlier the Venetian city-states. They were immensely influential about the way Europe developed over the following centuries into the Enlightenment and the Renaissance, as well as the remains of the Holy Roman Empire and the gradual dissolution of their power in the Caucasus and that region. But a lot of what happened in European history through those pre-20th century ages, you can see how that knowledge was developed into the construction of the cities. This is the Washington, D.C. center of power. That's the Senate building in the middle. Yeah, can you see the owl? Yeah. Weaving spiders come not here. It's the owls versus spiders again. But again, I was short on time and I could only grab this one image. I could have grabbed multiple images from all across Europe and America. And it's not just Europe, you know, it's in other parts of the world because of the colonial era. We spread this stuff all over the globe. But the point I'm making is, like, if you look at Paris, you can see the same kind of Masonic principles encoded into the construction of Paris. London, same. Liverpool. So, I mean, check out Swilliamism's channel. He does a fantastic job of showing how all this stuff is in the majority of our cities in the UK. Yeah, there's basically no avoiding it. Once you know what to look for, it's all around you in pretty much every city. It's in Birmingham, it's in Coventry, you know, it's in Manchester, it's in Glasgow, it's in Edinburgh, blah, 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 blah. You will see their influence in the way the cities are constructed. The usual argument for this will be, oh, well, they understood that, you know, you have to make cities efficient, so certain shapes and designs work better than others. Really? If you actually look at city planning, no, sorry, that's not actually true. If anything, a lot of these designs and shapes made normal everyday life a bit more inefficient because you were forcing people to live within certain sort of stylized zones, almost like you were building a hive. Yeah, like a hive of insects, a hive of bees or termites. Now, when you look at that, imagine that there's lots of people moving around the shape of those pathways and roads there, which in general there are on an everyday sort of occurrence in Washington. There'll be members of the public moving around, driving around on the roads, walking around the park areas. There'll also be the various politicians and whatever, yeah, bureaucrats. But the point I'm making with this is the Freemasons, as well as other secret societies, as I mentioned earlier, had an influence on the design and construction of our major cities. People are constantly moving around those shapes, almost like energy moving around an electrical circuit. Yeah, I say almost like, because that is a poor simile, but it just about works as an analogy to explain the concept of tapping into people's energy. If you walk in a circle around a campfire, are you generating energy? Yeah, right. If you get a whole bunch of people dancing around the campfire, chanting a repetitive chant, you are forming an egregore, a group mind entity. You are combining the energetic output of those people involved, those individuals involved. That energy can be formed and tapped into and used in different ways. Not necessarily for good, you know, it could be for good or bad. I don't believe in the concept of good and bad shamans and that shit. There's just shamans. It's how they use the energy that matters and what their intent is and stuff like that. But if you imagine, for example, you then get a larger group of people to all move around a certain shape, for example, a pentagram or maybe a 7-pointed star, whatever. You'll find them in some formations, but especially moving between an obelisk and a dome or a fountain of water. Those things are the two phallic symbols, the penis and the womb. So they represent life and birth, death and rebirth, the natural cycle, etc. So they are tapping the energy to add to a conducive flow that forms certain cymatic shapes. The buildings around you form certain cymatic shapes. If somebody in a sacred geometrical designed building does that, the sound waves from him clapping are going to form into a certain cymatic shape, because the building has been designed to reflect sound energy in that way. And that sound energy generates electrical energy. Yeah. Or it can be used to generate electrical energy. But the point I'm trying to make here, and I've carried on from what I was explaining last week, or tried to at least anyway, is that, yeah, a lot of this stuff is symbolic. And for the majority of the members of these groups, like the Freemasons, they got no idea of this shit. They don't give a fuck about this shit. They're just businessmen that want to earn money. Yeah, and being in the Masons gets you a good leg up in the business world. It gets you a bit of back scratching and all that kind of shit, yeah? You help one brother, he helps you. If you're having hard times, the other brothers will come and help you out. They'll find you a deal or get you a contract or whatever, yeah? That's most of what Freemasonry is now in the modern sense. But in the background is this body of knowledge and comprehension that the reality we participate in is primarily and foundationally created from pure energy. It is pure energy. So if you learn how to manipulate that energy, you can manipulate how people behave and think. So when you're encouraged to go and participate in things like a march for the nation, and you're marching through London, which is one of the most fucking Freemasonic cities in the fucking world, then maybe consider the fact that your energy and your thinking they're trying to influence you. I'm not suggesting that this takes people over in some kind of hypnotic sense. No, it doesn't do that. Yeah, that's something different. Energy could be used in that way, but they've got other methods that they can use to do shit like that, like MK Ultra and drugs and whatever, yeah? No, this kind of stuff is about creating healthy or unhealthy energy. If you go to a really unpleasant environment, you're going to feel down, you're going to feel lethargic, you're going to feel depressed, your energy is going to be suppressed, your thinking will become negative and depressive, yeah, suicidal ideation, etc. You try living in a ghetto, that's the kind of mindset it develops, yeah? The classic kind of experience, the gulag, and you'll see how people cave in on themselves. Yeah, if you're still listening, Days, I know Days knows plenty of Dostoevsky quotes about that kind of thing. Yeah? When you put people in the direst, most terrible environments, you find out who has the real strength of will to survive. And those that do will find that inner energy that means that they are indomitable. Yeah. Most people cave in and collapse under that kind of pressure because that's what it does. And in the same way, if you create an environment that encourages positive energy flow, you'll find that people are much more willing to participate. Their own thinking will become clearer and crisper. One of the other examples I thought of using, but again, I didn't have the time to find imagery or video to demonstrate it, is the crystalline form. And this, again, is something that they studied over the centuries under natural philosophy, especially in the churches. But yeah, if you look at the way crystals form, they grow following the path of least electrical resistance, because that's what electricity does. Electricity finds the shortest route between 2 points, between the cathode and the anode. That's what lightning does. It finds the shortest route possible to balance the charge that caused the lightning crack in the first place. So knowing that means, again, if you create a conducive funnel, then people will flow through that funnel unknowingly, unwittingly, unconsciously, because their own energetic self is flowing along with the gentle flow of least resistance. Hopefully that makes sense, yeah? I know that's like an immense amount I've tried to include, and some of it for...
Yeah, I think crystals are materialized energy, like literally.
Yes, yeah.
Right? They get their energy out of the fucking ether. Literally, that's how they grow.
And again, I never
That's
thought
how
to
they
mention
feed.
it.
That's how they get their energy.
Yeah,
That's how, you
and
know. That, yeah.
Where does the piezoelectrical effect primarily come
Exactly.
from?
Yeah.
Quartz crystal.
Yeah.
You get quartz crystal, you give it a
It's
little
energy.
tap.
Yeah.
Yeah, not trying to break it or crack it, just a tiny little tap, it releases electrons. Yeah. You put it under pressure and you get that inverse effect, and it releases negative electrons and sonic waves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they knew about this kind of shit all along, and they've deliberately constructed an environment that nudges us towards that kind of beehive thinking. That was what they were hoping would sustain the monarchy concept long enough. And it did. I could argue, I know this will go on forever if I try to at the moment, but just to make the point, I could argue that this is basically one of the things that encouraged the Enlightenment and the Renaissance, because it encouraged clearer thinking and deeper thinking. They had more people who were literate and had the time to spend doing this kind of thinking and researching. So it led to the Enlightenment led to the Renaissance leads to the Industrial Revolution, etc., etc., etc. And this was based on ancient knowledge about the fact that we are electrical beings before we are anything else. And primarily based on the first Hermetic principle of its most lowest base foundational level, reality is pure consciousness. Yeah, pure consciousness that emanates out of the etheric field.
Yeah.
So, don't believe all the bullshit. Knowledge is power when it helps you to better your life in some manner. Yeah, it's not exactly powerful if you just sit on it and do nothing with it. But, you know, we can't always implement everything we learn about or know about. But yeah, knowledge is power when you can actually use it in your life and gain from it. And it is true treasure, not the materialist bullshit. It's great to be able to feed yourself and your family and stuff like that. But it's far greater if you can do that by your own power and ability, not through their control. Because they will always have the ability to cut you off if they decide they don't like you anymore. Or if you say something that's not conducive for the way they want to run the world, you know? Like all the shit that's happening at the moment. They desperately need to transition us into a technocratic control grid of little 15-minute pockets of beehives of existence. No, sorry, we ain't having that.
No.
I ain't having that. Yeah. Sooner or later, hopefully, most people will realise that they have to say no. They'll be left.
Well, now we know that
less...
World War I and World War II were bullshit, so World War III is probably going to be bullshit as well. So, right, we're on to that. So, yeah.
Have they got a ceasefire in the Middle East?
No,
I wonder why. I'm so confused. I can't know anything because they told me I'm not an expert, so I'm not allowed to know.
Learn Chinese.
Yeah, start learning Mandarin. Yeah. Well, should we learn Mandarin?
Learn to code. Yeah, well, similar.
Yeah, maybe it'd be better to do both, and Farsi and Russian.
Mm.
Might as well just hedge all our bets, you know. But yeah, thanks for giving me your attention, giving us your attention. Thanks to Pete and Paul as well for joining in
Thanks,
and
Cookie.
adding
Thank
to
you.
the conversation. But
Yeah,
yeah,
thanks,
thank you all
Paula.
out there for
Thanks, Pete.
tuning in for, well, it's going to be probably 3 hours this by now. And fuck YouTube, the fucking panty twisters.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
didn't notice, that was a tripod trying to break through from the other dimension.
No, it's a. I told you, it's a ghostly, ghouly thing with a big arm. Look at it.
Oh, it's alive. It's alive.
It looks like it's on a wag now.
Oh, lock.
It's on a wag.
All right, let's just do this quick before I
Steve.
forget again.
Oh, thanks for doing your ruins. Mascara, he's doing them. He's doing them, Mascara.
Yeah, beginning maroon.
I've chosen the question already, so
Okay.
Okay.
it's just relevant to my rambling tonight more than anything.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I haven't even looked at it yet. Oh, that's somewhat appropriate, I think.
Mhm.
As in, it can't be inverted, which is definitely true about the energy flow. Oh man, I shouldn't be leaning over like this. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, it's when I lean over, it compresses my lungs and just makes me breathing a bit fucked for a few minutes. So there's nothing to worry about. It's just.
Do you need to take a minute? Because Pete could do a sexy music interlude.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, you can do it.
Like if you're making a coffee or something, you know.
That one is called Jera, and I'm just looking at the selection, right? When you reference it in the book, yeah. It's exactly in the middle, which is interesting as well. Yeah. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, I knew you wouldn't be able to resist.
Oh, sorry.
You just like feeding the pony, don't you?
I can't help tweaking you both either. Sorry.
Sorry, Cookie. I love you, mate.
Sorry, Cookie. Mwah.
Yeah, it's room number 13, so it is the exact centre.
Lucky.
Before I tell you what my question was, I'll read the description, yeah?
Okay.
A rune of beneficial outcomes. Jera applies to any activity or endeavour to which you are committed. Receiving this rune encourages you to keep your spirits up. Be aware, however, that no quick results can be expected. To me, that's quite a good answer. Basically, what I was asking the question of was, all the stuff I've explained over last week and this week, is it potentially fairly accurate? That to me says yes. Maybe it's suggesting that you could still continue more research, but you're on the right path. Yeah, that line of this rune encourages you to keep your spirits up. No quick results can be expected. Yeah, in other words, you're on the right path, but you haven't got it all right yet. I've never ever claimed to know everything. Yeah, and to me, that's what that's reiterating. You're on the right path, but don't be arrogant to think that you've got it all yet, or that you're right about everything. So I think that's fairly good, encouraging draw from the runes. Whew, and that would be a good place to say thank you. Joining the after chat. I will try and stick around. You know what I'm like. I usually end up being here till fucking midnight. So if you want to continue the conversation, we could talk about whatever, like we usually do. and come and join us in that after chat. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow for Rob's Health Freedom UK chat with a quiz.
With a quiz.
Don't forget, there will be a quiz tomorrow.
With a quiz.
And then we'll be back for the Starfish Troopers on Wednesday. And then Thursday night, Steve will be on for the mystery show.
Double hooray.
And Friday?
No,
I didn't think so because you done last week. That's all right.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I need to shut up now. Let's find me outro bit. I never thought to say, Pete, if you got a bit of music you wanted to play.
No. I was just looking, but no.
Well, we can do it another time. We've gone way over time as it is. So thank you for your patience, folks.
Thanks,
we'll
all.
see you again next week.
For the daily.
Thank you. Don't forget to sub.
Good night.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah,
Bye.
don't forget to
Subs.
sub.
Don't forget to sub.
Yeah, sub. Don't sub to Health Freedom UK.
Catch you.
It's going to get weirder and weirder and weirder.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Oh, I missed click the button. Try.
Welcome to your awakening. Please take all as your reality is adjusted.